and on the free iHeartRadio app. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into the Craig Way Show. My name is Jake Herman, filling in for Craig on this Friday afternoon. He is with the Longhorn baseball team over in the Brazos Valley, College Station, where Olson Field at Bluebell Park will host maybe one of the most anticipated series on the entire college baseball calendar. Texas taking on Texas A&M. We'll get you all ready to go with that series starting later tonight. You can hear the game over on 103.1 FM, Austin's 80 station. Craig Way and Keith Moreland have the call. We'll touch base with them as this show heads to the 4 o'clock hour. We're with you from 2 to 5 today here on AM 1300 The Zone. We'll have tons of sound bites from Longhorns head coach Jim Schlossnagle, who is going to find himself in a hostile environment over the course of this weekend series. His first trip back to College Station since taking the Texas job in 2024. And of course, the Longhorns swept Texas A&M by 3 one-run games at the Dish when these two teams met last year. So the Longhorns will be at Texas A&M for its first 3-game series since 1992. It's a rivalry that's been limited to some alternating home sites on Tuesday midweeks ever since these two teams were in separate conferences. Now the Longhorns will head to College Station for this pivotal SEC series, and we'll preview that from all sorts of angles over the course of today's show. We've got some transfer portal talk for you as well, both in men's and women's basketball. We'll tell you who the top guys are that have entered the portal on the men's side, and maybe who Texas is targeting based on what the reports out there have sort of circulated at this point. It's a whole lot of rumors right now when it comes to the transfer portal, but there are a couple of players who have been linked to Texas. There's also a couple of Texas players who have entered the portal. So we'll give you all the latest on Sean Miller and his group as they navigate the now officially open transfer portal in men's basketball. We'll also hear from Coach Will Muschamp, the defensive coordinator for the Texas Longhorns. He visited with the media yesterday for his first time since being back in Austin. All that's coming up later, in addition to some football notes and a little bit of a preview of UT softball's series against Oklahoma this weekend. But it is day 2 of the Masters, one of the most prestigious events, if not the most, on the entire sports calendar, not just in the world of golf. And when we have golf questions here on this program, we have the luxury of bringing in Cameron Parker, our former producer, now assistant program director and on-air personality here at The Zone. Cameron, this has been the Rory McIlroy show so far at the 2026 Masters. We're seeing a free and loose version of last year's champ and the career Grand Slam champ.
No doubt, Jake. This is the Rory McIlroy that I think the golf world expected in 2011. He opened up with that Thursday 65 in 2011, had the lead going into Sunday, and then, collapsed on 11. And that was really the closest he had been to winning a Masters until last year. And, there's been a lot of great media that has come from his win last season. The Amazon Prime documentary is excellent. The Masters have produced their own sort of documentary as well. And he kind of talked about it, Jake, to where he admitted there was a hump to get over in Augusta that he had to do mentally. And he exercised a couple demons in that final round Sunday, right? He double bogeyed the first hole. And usually when you double bogey at Augusta, it's hard to make it up. He had made 4 doubles last season. He was the first player in Masters history to make 4 double bogeys and go on to win the Masters. So he had that slow start, came back, and then of course had the terrible double on 13, Rays Creek. Justin Rose comes back, makes the putt on 18. They go to the playoff after Rory makes the bogey from the fairway on 18. It was just everything that could go wrong for Rory went wrong last season at Augusta, and he righted the ship multiple times, got the green jacket, and then he comes to Augusta, and a lot of the questions going into the week was, will he be more free now, mentally, knowing that he doesn't have the weight of the Grand Slam and the green jacket on his shoulders. And Jake, it appears that he's playing weightless right now. I mean, he's 3 under through the first 4 holes. He made birdies on 2, 3, and 4. He's got a 3-shot lead over Justin Rose, who's playing the 18th right now. I mean, if Rory continues playing this way, he may end up walking to a green jacket. Now, I mentioned those 4 double bogeys last season. It's Rory McIlroy. There is a double bogey lurking somewhere, possibly in this round, maybe tomorrow, and all of a sudden, he's back to being 1 or 2 shots clear of the leaders, maybe even tied. But I tell you what, it's he had a lot of questions coming in this week because of the back injury that forced him to withdraw from the Players' Championship a few weeks ago. So we weren't really sure what kind of form he would be in, but he's in excellent form. There has been no rust, and right now he is by far the favorite to win this golf tournament.
We're talking some Masters Day 2 storylines here to start the show with Cameron Parker, and we're going to get to the leaderboard in just a minute because one of the storylines coming up through the first day of this tournament is just how strong this leaderboard looked. At one point, you had the top 9 names all having played in multiple Ryder Cups. Guys like, obviously, Rory, Shane Lowry, Brooks Koepka, Ben Griffin, Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, all lurking. Scotty's dropped back a little bit. He's had a little bit of a tough day out there. He's right now sitting at 2 over. His streak of 11 straight rounds under par, or rather even par or better at the Masters, looks really likely to come to an end today. What have you seen out there that's gone wrong for him today?
Yeah, it's been a little bit of good and bad from Scotty. I mean, he was 3 under for the first 3 holes yesterday. He drove the green on 3 after making eagle on 2. And for a moment there, Jake, with Rory at 5 under, it felt like, oh man, we're going to have Rory and Scotty atop the leaderboard. And then he kind of came back down the earth. And then today, he's had just some really poor mistakes we're not really used to seeing from Scotty Scheffler. I think he had a birdie putt, I believe it was on 5 from about 23, 25 feet, ends up 3-putting for bogey. I mean, he left his putt about 6, 7 feet short. We're not used to seeing that from Scotty. Just now on 15 mil, the fairway on the par 5, ends up just destroying his second shot, skipped behind the green into the pond behind 15 in front of the 16 tee box, makes a quick double bogey there, and all of a sudden he's back to even par, now 8 shots back. So, with Scotty, he's been searching for something in his form, and of course we hold him to this ridiculous high standard because what we've seen him be able to accomplish already: 2 Masters championships. He's won double-digit times on the tour. He won the Amex earlier this season and has struggled since then. He just had his second kid. Congratulations to Meredith and him, little Remy. So, he's someone that he's talked about it a lot, Jake, that, he is not defined by golf. So with his second kid on the way and being born, I feel like maybe he's just been more focused on his personal life, his wife, his kids. Now, obviously, he wants to get out there and win this golf tournament, and he's not playing terrible, but he's not playing to the same level as Scotty Scheffler. So, I wonder if that's just with other things going on in his life right now. He's just not as focused on the golf game as he was a year or 2 ago. But, I got a feeling that this week right here is going to propel him. I think he'll win the U.S. Open at Shinnecock. That's been my prediction since the turn of the calendar. I think it holds up. I think he bounces back from this week. And hey, he could go on a tear here, 16, 17, 18. Even tomorrow, he'll make the cut. There's a 66, 67, 65 possibly, in the bag for him this week, and the fault right back up into the top 10, top 5. If Rory runs away with it today, then maybe it's just everyone else playing catch up to Rory, who will finish second. But what we've seen, Hatton get up to 5 under. We see what Rose has done today. It's possible to shoot a high number. Now this afternoon wave, it'll get really firm and fast at Augusta, so it'll be a little bit tougher. I don't think we're going to see a 65, 66, but it'll be curious to see if Rory holds on to this round. But I think for Scotty, the standard for him, the bar is above everybody else. Same thing with Rory. So when he's not off the lead or sniffing around the lead, the question is what is going on with Scotty Scheffler. That's unfortunately how it'll be for Scotty for probably the rest of his career.
Hard to imagine that Scotty's sleep is anywhere close to optimal, given Remy's arrival to the world this week. You mentioned Tyrrell Hatton. He's in with a 66. I believe that's the lowest score of the day so far. He was tied for the lead at one point. How about a guy like Justin Rose, who he's in with a 69 today, 3 under par to get to 5 under overall. He's tied for second place right now with Sam Burns. I know somebody like Rose, who's been so close so many times, is a really kind of interesting golfer to watch in that he can really approach the holes differently than everybody else. Is there a chance for somebody like him to come out of the field and get their first green jacket at this Masters?
I think so, Jake. I mean, the way this tournament is set up with it being firm and fast, it's a proper golf course. It's a proper test. And Justin Rose always seems to, rise to the top in these major golf tournaments when the courses get tough, the firms get fast, the greens get fast. He's a proper player. So it's no surprise to see him, playing well this week. I mean, he played well last year at Augusta, right? Finished second in the playoff, and who won that? Rory. So this year, again, Rory's leading and Rose is right up there. And he does it whether he's in form or not. He's 40 years old. This season, he's been all right. Last season leading up to Augusta, it was kind of out of nowhere. All of a sudden he finds his form. So there's something about guys like him, Brooks Koepka, where they show up to a major golf tournament and all of a sudden, like, everything just clicks, right? It just clicks. They elevate their game to a different level. And that's what separates, the good golfers from the greats. Because you can go out to any golf course, your local community, you're going to find guys shooting 64, 63. But, what separates the pro golfers from the Korn Ferry Tour golfers and the college golfers is that they can get to a golf course like this and mentally take their game up to the next level along with their physical game. So for Rose, he was 3-4 under yesterday and just kind of struggled to get it into the garage, a couple of bogeys down the stretch, 1 on 18, when it looked like he was going to be right up there at 5 or 4 under. And even today on the front nine, he battled. There was a lot of par putts he was having to drain just to stay even, 1 over on the front nine. And then he got to 8 and just flipped the switch. Well, 7, I think he made his first birdie, and then 8 made par, and then 9 made that birdie too on an incredible shot from the fairway. So we've seen him go low. He went low last year on Sunday. Would not be surprised to see him sniffing around the top 5, top 3 heading into Sunday. I mean, all these guys chasing Rory, realistically, if you can be within, you want to be probably within 5 shots going into Sunday. So I think a lot of these guys, depending on what number Rory posts, he just made bogey actually on 5. So there you go, coming back down the earth. If you can stay within probably about 5 shots heading into Sunday, anyone can have a chance.
All right, if we were to give you a pick just based on what you've seen so far at this tournament for who ends up wearing that green jacket at Butler Cabin on Sunday, who would you go with in this moment?
It's hard not to pick against Rory right now. And, that could come back to bite me in the butt. But the way he's playing right now, kind of that carefree golf, I kind of think he's maybe unlocked something. Now, I would love to answer this question after he finishes this round, because he may end up at 5 under or 4 under. And it's like, okay, well, maybe got a little bit lucky on a couple holes here. I think it's Rory. I think he's in a different headspace right now. Winning last year is freed up. I think what really held him back, he won in 2014, and he could win the random PGA Tour event in Palm Springs, wherever. He could win Bay Hill, he could win at Pebble, but for some reason, major championships just eluded him. And for a while, not only did it elude him, Jake, he wasn't even close to contending. His name was not on the Sunday leaderboard. And then 2024 was at the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. It's like, okay, he's kind of getting up there again. He lost it. He had a couple heartbreaks. U.S. Open, LA Country Club. Those are 2 U.S. Opens where he probably could have won. But hey, all of a sudden it's like, well, he's poking around again. Can he figure it out? And for whatever reason, he figured it out at Augusta last year. And I think the weight of just like knowing, like, man, this would put me into the Grand Slam category. It would finally put me in as a Masters winner. And, I'm sure since 2011, 2010, it's always been about winning Augusta for him, winning the Masters. And that's probably been such a massive relief off his plate to not have that pressure. Because if he goes out and loses this week, he's still the Masters champion. And I think that's kind of changed his mindset. And so I would like to see if that has flipped something for him this weekend at Augusta. But as of right now, 2:16 p.m. Central Time, I think my pick has changed to Rory McIlroy. But we'll see next time I talk to you Monday, Jake.
Yeah, there it is on the timestamp. Hey, before you go, Craig and I had this conversation yesterday. Comments from some of the legends of the game, guys like Gary Player and Tom Watson and Jack Nicklaus, earlier in the week, created a lot of buzz, having to do with the driving distances right now in the sport and whether or not the solution is changing the ball, moving the pins back, things of that nature. I just wanted to know if you had any reaction to those comments that have kind of dominated the pre-tournament stories coming into this Masters.
Oh, boy, Jake, I could go on about 20 minutes on this subject here, but I'm going to keep it brief for you because I know you got to hit the commercial break. Professional golf needs a rollback because we are treading into dangerous territory here where it's now just turned, most tournaments in professional golf have turned into how far can you drive the golf ball? And Augusta has been one of the few tournaments left on the PGA Tour where long iron, your iron play is required to win this golf tournament. But, with technology and the driver head getting bigger and bigger and more golfers becoming athletes, driving distance is getting farther and farther every year. But golf courses, there's only so much real estate a golf course has. There's only so much farther a golf course can extend their hold. And Augusta National has probably gotten to the longest it can play on most of their tee boxes. And it's just, it's not good for the game. And most golf courses across the world, you can't just all of a sudden move your tee box back to accommodate a professional golf tournament. So my short answer is yes, rollback is needed. Fred Ridley has been an advocate for it. The USGA and the PGA have been against it for some reason, probably because the major golf companies like TaylorMade and Callaway and Srixon have them in their back pocket, and they don't want to see the ball roll back because they want to keep their driver heads the same. They want to be able to make as much money as possible, which is unfortunate for the game of golf because we need the rollback to keep the professional game the way it is. Because right now, Jake, we call them BSIs, ball speed imposers. And the PGA Tour is full of a lot of ball speed imposers. And a couple of the guys who are BSIs are dead last at Augusta this week because they're ball speed imposers and don't know how to hit a proper golf shot. So the Masters is great because you have proper golfers like Rory, like Justin Rose, like Tyrrell Hatton, who aren't guys who just hit it as far as possible. They're guys who can hit it from anywhere on the golf course with any golf club in their hand. And we need to see more of that. And unfortunately, not every golf course can accommodate that. And so the best way to save that is by rolling the golf ball back by probably about 50, 60 yards. But if it's going to happen, it's probably going to be past 2030, unfortunately. Maybe not even in our lifetime.
He's Cameron Parker calling out the BSIs, calling out big golf ball. There's a lot happening here when it comes to the future of golf and how it centers around these Masters. How about the BSIWs? Ball sent into the woods. That's where I would be.
They're with you. Me, you, and Craig all together.
All right, well, that sounds fun. That sounds like a fun day over the summer. Cameron, hey, thanks for joining, and we'll be keeping an eye on the tournament and of course your Rory McIlroy prediction.
Yes, sir. We'll see you, Jake.
All right, we need to get to our first break, but coming up, we'll talk a little Longhorn baseball here from head coach Jim Schlossnagle. There is a not-so-small series going on in College Station starting later on this afternoon. This is AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Hey, baseball fans. Catch the Round Rock Express right here on 1300 The Zone. All the action and excitement from the ballpark. Don't miss a pitch. It's Round Rock Express baseball only on 1300 The Zone.
Hi, this is Sarah at the Department of Rejected Dreams. If you had a dream rejected, IKEA can make it possible.
I've been dreaming of hosting a big dinner party, but I don't have enough plates.
Oh, that's easy.
Or bowls or cups or chairs.
So you need more everything. Well, IKEA has all your dining needs from dinnerware and utensils to full dining sets.
Wow, everything but the kitchen sink.
Actually, we have those too. Get everything your dream kitchen needs at a price you didn't dream possible. In-store or online at ikea.us/dreamkitchen. Dream the possibilities.
Booking.com has stays for absolutely anyone. For instance, imagine you're a vampire thirsting for a lively hotel. You'll find a Vegas resort near some great nightlife. Perfect. You may be undead, but you're the life of the party. And if the forecast calls for sun, at least there's free cancellation on most stays, so you can wait for the perfect weather. Ah, gorgeous. If a vampire can find their perfect stay, anyone can. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.yeah.
You'll use the radio in your car more than anything else. When buying a new car, make sure the AM/FM is simple, clear, and convenient.
Stay connected to Texas athletics and the 40 acres with the LHN app. Watch original content, behind-the-scenes access, interviews, press conferences, highlights, classic Longhorn moments, and select live events. It's your home for Texas athletics content all year long. And with new stories and features dropping all the time, there's always something new to discover. Best of all, the LHN app is free to download and watch. Download the LHN app today and take Texas athletics with you wherever you go. Hook 'em.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Voters are listening to the radio, tons of them. If you're running for office, radio is where people are actually tuned in, not swiping past ads. Connect with communities everywhere and get on the air in just 48 hours. Visit winwithiheart.com. That's winwithiheart.com.
Always running out of hot water? You can count on Abacus to help. Get a 40 to 50-gallon water heater for just $22.99 with warranty and zero down financing, as low as $36.33 a month. Call or visit abacusplumbing.com today. M20628.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-511-4545. That's 800-511-4545.
You guys just didn't want it bad enough. That should have been an easy win. What were you doing out there? You got to hustle. You could have made that play if you'd been open.
On the car ride home after the game, when you think you're helping by telling me what I did wrong and what I need to work on, all I hear is that I'm not good enough, that I'm supposed to be perfect, that it's not okay to lose. On the car ride home, all I need to hear is how much you love me and enjoy watching me play, that my worth isn't determined by my performance, that even on my worst day, I am worthy, that you see me learning, growing, and doing my best. And that is enough.
This message presented by the WIAA and the Washington Secondary School Athletic Administrators Association.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. We cover all 40 acres. Welcome back to the Craig Way Show and the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way. Follow Craig on social media at Horn Voice.
Yeah, this feels about right for a baseball series. An entrance into a hostile environment for the Longhorns later tonight. Texas taking on Texas A&M. Olsen Field at Bluebell Park. Mentioned it's the Longhorns' first trip to College Station for a 3-game series since 1992. Texas also looking for its first win over the Aggies in College Station since 2023. Of course, the Aggies had their way in the regional, played down there in 2024. Last year, though, Texas swept Texas A&M in Austin. 3 one-run games. Remember that double play to end game 3? Texas won by final scores of 2-1, 3-2, and 6-5. That was last April for Texas, sweeping the Aggies at home en route to a SEC regular season title. Texas comes into this game at 9-3 in SEC play. Texas A&M is 7-5. In each of their first 3 SEC series, Texas has dropped the first game. Well, 3 of their first 4, I should say. Dropped the first game and then come back to handle business the rest of the way. So Texas at 9-3, just 1 game behind the Georgia Bulldogs, who currently lead the SEC at 10-2. They are on an 8-game win streak at the moment, Georgia is, and they're in first place in the early going of this SEC race. So Jim Schlossnagle had a chance to visit with the media about this series in the dugout yesterday. It is the Longhorns' first trip back to College Station since Jim Schlossnagle departed Texas A&M after leading them to within 1 game of the college baseball national championship in 2024. A couple days later, it was announced that he was taking the Texas job. The Aggies were in the College World Series, just under 2 full years ago. And Jim Schlossnagle, after Texas A&M lost that final game in 2024, they're defeated in the College World Series, had said Texas A&M was the last job that he was going to take. And then a couple days later, took the Texas job. And right now, the A&M fans whose ticket prices in some places in the ballpark have exceeded $1,000 are ready to, let their emotions out on Schloss in this series. The skipper was asked what his emotions were going to be come 6 o'clock tonight as the Longhorns take the field and start this series.
Yeah, excited, actually. Super excited. Looking forward to another awesome weekend in the SEC. Great rivalry. Honored to be a part of it. Looking forward to seeing some former players who I've heard from and some very close friends that I made over there. So honestly, just really looking forward to it.
I think it was Luke Harrison who told reporters earlier on yesterday that the A&M fans are going to make it about Jim Schlossnagle, right? And the Longhorns just have to go play and stay focused on their jobs. Jim Schlossnagle was asked, have you talked to the team about this idea of not making it bigger than it really is?
Yeah, just talked to him briefly about it yesterday. Number one, it's an honor to be a part of this rivalry, whether you're a coach or a player. And and it's something you'll look back on as a player here or a player there over the course of the rest of your life. Playing games like this, series like this, they can be as life memories, more so than maybe being a major league player. When you talk to guys that have had a chance to do that. So that's one thing I said, and then certainly, there's going to be a lot said about all the peripheral stuff, but the game's about the players. It's about the Aggie players, and it's about our players, and fans can make it more than that, and that's okay. That's what fans do, and that's fine. There's storylines in every game and all the games we play, but again, it's if we win a game, it's one win. If we lose a game, it's one loss, and it's not anything more than that. But it is special. I mean, you can't look away from that to be a part of an awesome rivalry, especially this time of year in college baseball, right smack dab in the middle of the season. Great for our sport.
Game time, by the way, 7 o'clock Central Time tonight. You can hear the pregame coverage starting at 6:45 over on 103.1 FM, Austin's 80 station, or on the iHeart Radio app. Schloss was asked, how do you expect to be perceived in your return to College Station?
I mean, I can't control the fans. I mean, the 12th man's awesome. I mean, I've said that ever since I had a chance to experience it. Actually, experience it at TCU. They're awesome. They're passionate for their team, and they're super consistent, very, very loyal. And, I don't expect anything less than that over the course of the weekend. And there's fans over there that are still very, very good friends that I'm looking forward to seeing, and they're going to root for their team too. So I'm not making anything bigger than what it is for us in terms of baseball series.
He was asked, why is it so exciting to take your group into a hostile environment? Something about sticking together through a cauldron of noise and hecklers can really bring a team together. And Schloss was asked about that element of this series.
Yeah, that's part of the league. This one's certainly special because it's so close and so historic. But you also get that when you go to LSU, or you get that when you go to a packed Mississippi State. But this one's obviously different just because of how close the schools are. But yeah, again, this is all preparation. It's all preparation for whatever this team has at the end of the season, if we have a postseason. And if we have to go on the road for something or play in another tough environment, then we've already been in the toughest one.
Now, you've heard Schloss, if you've followed our program this year or just listened to the way he talks about the mentality of his team. He wants his team to view every opponent as nameless and faceless. And hey, when you're going through an SEC grind, that makes all the sense in the world. But how realistic is that this weekend against a team that has so much history in this rivalry against Texas, and a team that has so much familiarity and significance as far as Jim Schlossnagle's career? What's the balance of facing a nameless opponent, quote unquote, versus living in the moment and being in this rivalry?
I mean, I think you can do both. I think standard, not a scoreboard, faceless opponent, all those things, but you can still appreciate, leading up to it, before and after the game, that kind of thing. But in the game, you can't do that. You just can't. And if you do, you're not going to play well. And so if we try to play those games or get in that mindset, then we won't play well. And so the team that stays in the middle, the team that handles their breathing, that can try to handle their heart rate, is the team that'll have the best chance to win.
One more on this kind of similar vein, similar line of questioning is kind of that mental approach that Jim Schlossnagle emphasizes to his team about visualizing things on the diamond or in practice so that when you're out there doing it in the game, you can block everything else out and lean on that familiarity, those mental reps, the things that you've done before. He was asked, is this done individually with the entire team?
No, we visualize. We use visualization all the time. That your mind can't differentiate between what you physically experience and what you vividly imagine. Like, it really can't. You can get your heart rate up that way. So whether it be shadowing on the mound, the pitchers, you see them do that, whether it be mental at bats, like Adrian's been taking mental ABs every time Becerra comes up while he's been hurt. He takes mental at bats in the dugout to try and put himself in that space. So you can, at least when you get there, you can at least feel like you've been there before. It's never the same as actually being there, but you can practice, your breath and your focal point and your routine, so that you can try to make it as normal as possible.
We'll hear a little more from Jim Schlossnagle later on in the show, a lot more actually, as he discusses both Adrian Rodriguez and his kind of recovery timetable. Same with Michael Winter and the Texas bullpen. He's got more to say as well about what this environment will be like and in terms of the specific matchup and what Texas A&M brings to the table. That's all coming up in the 3 o'clock hour on today's show. But still to come, in our next segment, we've got Inconceivable on a Florida Man Friday. Always a fun tradition here on the Craig Way Show. We've also got football notes to get to and some transfer portal topics on this busy Friday afternoon edition of the show.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code FUTURE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FUTURE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's FUTURE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
You'll do anything to get everyone to the bar for some March hoops, like sending countless highlight reels to build anticipation, lending one of your jerseys to a friend in need, and getting everyone's order ready for the bar. But that's the easy part, because it's always a bucket of Bud Lights, the clean, crisp taste that makes every get-together at the bar worth doing anything for. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2026 Anheuser-Busch. Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hi there, I'm John O'Hurley. You know, our pets are beloved family members. But sadly, though, there are so many dogs that get euthanized every day due to the lack of funding. To give them a chance at adoption, I invite you to support Puppy Food Bank. Thanks to generous donors like you, all of the food sent to pet shelters from Puppy Food Bank never comes with a bill. So please go to puppyfoodbank.org and make a generous, caring $15 donation every month. Your donation will absolutely save pet lives.
Hey guys, it's Erin, here to tell you that every Tuesday is Bikinis and Boots at Round Rock's soon-to-be #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy. That's right, come and see your favorite rowdy cowgirls in their sexiest bikinis and favorite boots.
Hey guys, it's Elena. If that's not a good enough reason to visit, how about all Texas spirits and beers are on special? So saddle up for lunchtime, dinner time, or a good time. Rowdy Cowboy, now in Round Rock.
Rowdy Cowboy, eat, drink, bottoms up.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
April is prime sports time.
Launches at 3, got it.
And iHeartRadio has you locked in. Start your day with Fox Sports Radio's Dan Patrick, getting you caught up on the biggest stories.
You got some interesting scenarios here.
Then find your favorite baseball team hitting the diamond.
Grand slam for Mookie Betts.
Or dive into mock draft season with NFL Daily.
We know Mendoza's going #1. Who do you have at #2?
From NBA and NHL playoffs to the draft podium, we've got you covered. Open the iHeartRadio app, search sports, and listen now.
Guess who's hosting the Tonys? Pink has been given the honor. The Grammy Award winner says Broadway has shaped her life and how she puts her shows together. Her music is currently featured in the Broadway shows Moulin Rouge the Musical and in Juliet. The Tonys will take place on June 7th. So I've been thinking about you, 80s music. Things can only get better when everybody Wang Chungs tonight and we stop the world with you. Confused? Howard Jones, Wang Chung, The English Beat, and Modern English. 3 popular acts from that decade are teaming up for a summer tour.
Summer Tour kicks off July the 19th in Napa, California, and wraps up August the 23rd in Toronto, Ontario. Multiple acts from the 80s will join Jones, including Wang Chung, English Beat, and Modern English. In a press release, Jones says he's dreamed of curating a tour with his favorite bands that could bring some positivity in our troubled times. Tickets for the Things Can Only Get Better tour are available now. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Also hitting the road,
Two gentlemen of elegant appearance in a state.
Jack White will play more than 30 dates across the country starting July 10th in D.C. with stops in New York, L.A., Chicago, and more. And that's entertainment. I'm Daria Albinger.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone. Our blood runs orange.
Okay, inconceivable on a Friday afternoon always means a trip down to grab the low-hanging fruit from the lowest of the lower 48, well, the most flaccid of the lower 48, as Craig likes to say. Florida Man Friday on Inconceivable. But first, we'll go over to neighboring Georgia, where the Masters brings us an inconceivable story. We talked earlier in the week on the show about the strict standards of decorum and etiquette the Masters demands of its fans, such as taking the phones away and the way the broadcasters refer to the crowd as the patrons. It's not a crowd at the Masters. Come on, we're much more elegant than that. Anyway, the players evidently might not be held to the same type of standard. Well, at least they're prone to moments of falling short of that standard. There was an incident on the course this morning involving Robert McIntyre, also known as Big Shot Bob, the flamboyant Scottish player who's got a big personality out there. He had a really rough first round at this year's Masters, including a double bogey, a quad, that's a quadruple bogey, and 3 other bogeys on the day. He was 10 over at one point. I think he's gotten it back close to making the cut. He had a nice little turnaround over the course of the day. I'm trying to see where he is on the leaderboard at some point. McIntyre is sitting at 7 over. So he brought it back a little bit today. Still not going to be able to make the cut. However, yesterday on the course, he let the emotions get the best of him because after a quadruple bogey left him frustrated, he flipped the bird at the entire course. That was so much tormenting him. The Masters reprimanded McIntyre for this inappropriate gesture after he went into the water on number 15, according to a new report from a newspaper in Scotland. He decided to raise his middle finger in the air in the direction of the green. If you're going to do that, maybe try getting away from the cameras. That's hard to do when you're playing in the featured group alongside Scotty Scheffler and Gary Woodland in the opening 2 rounds of this year's Masters. So after he dropped one in the water and flipped the bird, he ended up over the green on his 6th shot, part of a first round in which he finished with an 8 over par 80. He also slammed his club into the ground on number 17. So tough start to the Masters for Big Shot Bob, who flips up the albatross, let's just say. Oh, well, whatever the opposite of that is, a quadruple bogey. On to more inconceivable topics, including something that we've discussed all week long on the show, some of the best ballpark foods that you can find in 2026. There'll be a Florida tie-in here, but I want to get to a few things that have flown under the radar because, like Craig said yesterday, when our entire Inconceivable was dedicated to ballpark, fast food, junk food, all sorts of food, there is an abundance. There's a boatload, I should say, of new items every spring when it comes to new teams opening up their ballparks again. I say boatload because the Mariners have unveiled a souvenir ferry, a food boat for their home games this season. You can get either chicken tenders, fish and chips, crab nachos, or more in a ship container. And the ship contains a big basket in the middle, this ferry-looking structure, And then on each side of the boat, the decks where you can sort of stand and observe, you've got 2 little craters for sauce. This is creative. Comes in celebration of the 75 years of the Washington State ferry system and 50 years of the Mariners. You can also hear the ferry horn every time the Mariners score. So it's a theme. Just make sure if you raise your boat in the air, you don't spill any sauce off the side. Comerica Park, boy, I don't want to go to a game there in April. It's a little chilly. It's a little chilly for me to go to Comerica Park in April, but who am I to complain when the pierogi nacho is available? It's a cheddar pierogi with hatch chili queso, Polish kielbasa crumbles, caramelized onions, and sauerkraut. Look, if it's warm and I'm at the ballpark in April in Detroit, I'm in. You can also take home the batting helmet it's served in. That's always fun. The ice cream batting helmets, the pierogi batting helmet. You don't have to wash it out, but it'll be a fun souvenir from Comerica Park. I think we already talked about the Dubai cinnamon roll at Coors Field, topped with chocolate, vanilla ice cream, pistachios, caramel puff cereal, and more. That sounds pretty good. DC's got the Monument Chicken Tower, but Nats Park Concessions is dead to me because, like we talked about yesterday, it's the highest price in the league for a beer and a hot dog. To watch that team. Anyway, the Monument Chicken Tower, it's I don't know if this is supposed to look like the Washington Monument. The only thing it has in common with the Washington Monument is that it's pretty tall. It's the Monument Chicken Tower, a stacked sandwich with grilled chicken, smoked bacon, mixed greens, creamy chipotle ranch, and Gruyere cheese on a pretzel bun. See, I think that sounds great. It's got a skewer and 3 pickles with a little baseball on top. I guess that's their attempt at the monument. It looks pretty messy, but pretty good. You can get a Nutella beignet at PNC Park. That's a good little ballpark snack, a little messy as well. The pizza donut at Coors Field. Yeah, why pick one when you can combine both? The Rockies have unveiled this treat, which is a donut covered in garlic butter, grated Parmesan cheese, mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, marinara sauce, pesto sauce, and Italian seasoning. That just sounds like a mixture of all my favorite appetizers at an Italian place. We've already mentioned the Rally Sombrero. That comes in on this Bleacher Report list of wildest new ballpark foods as well. We've mentioned a couple of the other items. The one we haven't is at number 3, War Bomb, named after Kyle Schwarber, Sunday at Citizens Bank Park. Again, it comes in a mini helmet. That's going to raise your baseline score regardless. It's got soft serve ice cream, funnel cake, fried strawberry Uncrustables, fresh strawberry sauce, and fruity cereal pieces. That's pretty good. Okay, but as promised, our Florida Man tie-in comes from a ballpark food item at the University of Miami. And this was sent in to us from CB, who always makes sure to let every inconceivable item cross our desk. This is good to have folks on the lookout for us because it's Masters themed. It does not look very appetizing or sound very appetizing, but here it is on a Florida Man Friday. The pimento cheese milkshake. Milkshake would send my stomach into spirals. It's got vanilla ice cream, vanilla syrup, pimento cheese, potato chips, and it's topped with a cheese sandwich. Yeah, a cheese sandwich inside the pimento cheese milkshake at the University of Miami. I actually got Craig's thoughts on this. He says, look, at Marklight Stadium at the U, they have fabulous milkshakes, but as much as I love pimento cheese, I don't think I could go for that shake. So that's your specialty food item edition of Inconceivable from the University of Miami. It's all about the U. I don't know, pimento cheese milkshake. That to me, that's all about the U. Inconceivable on a Florida Man Friday. Coming up, we'll wrap up hour number 1 of the program and get you set for hour number 2.
Texas baseball is back. Catch every big hit.
This one out to deep left center. You can say goodnight to it.
Every strikeout.
Strike 3 call. Got him looking.
Every big play.
Dives, he made the catch! He made the catch!
Of Longhorns baseball all season long on 1300 The Zone and streaming free on the iHeartRadio app.
We've all seen it or heard it happen all too often. Either you or a family member or a friend get banged up in a car wreck, and it's not your fault, and either the other party or their insurance is trying to jack you around on a settlement or just not taking responsibility for their actions. That's when you need to get in touch with Dan Christensen and his attorneys at DJC Law. You see, Dan and his team are local. They have offices on Anderson Lane in Austin, on I-35 in Austin, and up in Cedar Park, with more than 30 years of serving the greater Austin area. These are real people helping real people. They have thousands of 5-star Google reviews, and they are the largest Austin-based, veteran-owned personal injury law firm in Texas. The Austin community is woven into the team at DJC Law. They take all of the problems that the accident brings and treat them as though they were happening to their family, and they've recovered millions of dollars in settlements and verdicts on behalf of their clients. Give DJC Law a call at 512-888-9999. They're on the web at teamjustice.com and on social media at Team Justice. 512-888-9999. And get your justice at Team Justice.
Get ready, Austin. The Dallas Wings take on the Las Vegas Aces live at Moody Center on May 3rd. Don't miss this WNBA preseason showdown. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
50 years in the Lone Star State, a one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know
which way to Specs.
Come on, let's go.
Specs Wine Spirits and Finer Foods. World-class service, that's all about you.
Shout Specs, it's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shout Specs, low price, amazing. Here's to you. Shout. Cheers to savings.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Leander, your new go-to spot is open now. Willie's Grill and Ice House. Willie's brings a freshly made scratch kitchen, never frozen tenders, and a full bar. With 4 Austin area locations to serve you, come check out the newest Willie's, 1412 Bright Lane in Leander. Stop in today. Willie's Grill and Ice House.
A cooling trend continues across the desert Southwest. A low-pressure system's moving through the region, bringing breezy to locally windy conditions from Southern California into Arizona. Gusts in parts of Southeast California may reach 40 miles an hour. Temperatures across Arizona hovering in the low to mid-80s. Across the Pacific Northwest, a mix of clouds and some scattered showers, typical for early spring. Moving into the Rockies and northern plains, cooler air settling in behind a passing front. Highs will range from the 40s in Montana to the 50s and 60s further south. Some light mountain snow is still possible. In the Midwest, the weekend brings a blend of sunshine and clouds. Temperatures will be mild, generally in the 50s and 60s, and a chance of light rain here and there. From Texas to the Carolinas, highs will reach into the 70s and low 80s with plenty of sunshine. And along the East Coast, the weather stays calm. The Northeast seeing partly cloudy skies, highs in the 50s and 60s. Florida remaining warm and bright with temperatures in the 80s and only isolated showers. That's your national forecast. I'm Monica Nelson.
Bird Cracked Orange, Bebo, and Ball. Craig Way is talking it all. Now back to the Craig Way Show on 1300 The Zone.
Hour number one of today's show in the books. Jake Herman in for Craig Way. And, that inconceivable was, it makes you wonder. I know you want to pay tribute to the Masters, a minnow cheese milkshake, but at what cost, man? I mean, that was one of the grosser items we've had in the ballpark food specialty section of this program since I joined at the end of last summer. Speaking of summer, it'll be a busy summer ahead in the transfer portal, men's and women's college basketball. We're going to talk a little men's basketball transfer portal on the other side of this break. Some news as it pertains to Texas, who is leaving and who the Longhorns might be targeting. We've got some football notes to get to and then plenty more to discuss as far as Longhorn baseball goes. They prepare to take on Texas A&M.
If you care about predictions, you care about props. And right now, it's about championship moments. From Augusta to the hardwood to the ice, every play matters. BetOnline has always been the home of real sports wagering deep markets, sharp odds, and player props, built for fans who know these games aren't random. Golf's biggest tournament, pro basketball playoff race, and pro hockey moving toward the hockey playoffs. BetOnline delivers live wagering and in-game odds that move with every swing, every run, every goal. BetOnline. The game starts here.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. If you or someone you care about is facing a family law issue, let us set up a 1-hour Cordell Consult. The Cordell Consult is a meeting with a local attorney who will give you clear guidance about your options, whether it's a separation, a postnuptial agreement, divorce, or custody. Visit CordellCordell.com.
Austin, San Antonio, and St. Louis.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
By texting 64000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Ownwell. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ownwell.com/terms. Estimate based on your neighborhood average and individual results may vary.
When I saw how high my property tax bill was, I was shocked. We couldn't afford this, but I discovered Ownwell. Ownwell reduced my property taxes and saved me over $1,000.
Your property taxes aren't set in stone. They can be protested and they can be reduced. But instead of filing protests yourself and very possibly losing your appeal, Ownwell does it all for you. And we give you the best chance to win and save big. Ownwell has reduced property taxes for hundreds of thousands of Texans and put money back in their pocket. And you can be one of them. And unlike other companies that take half of whatever you save, Ownwell charges just 25%. And that's only if you save.
Now I don't worry about my property taxes. Ownwell reduces it every year.
Sign up now for free. Don't pay unless you save. Text TAX to 64,000. Text TAX to 64,000. Text TAX to 64,000.
That red talkback mic on the free iHeart app could win you something amazing.
The iHeart Awards in LA.
Plus, it's the fastest way to get your voice on your favorite station.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
I love you guys. Have a good day.
Try the talkback mic now. Just open the free iHeartRadio app.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Adopt US Kids presents Multiple Choice Parenting.
You accidentally cut your daughter's bangs unevenly. Do you A, line things up a centimeter from her hairline?
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man.
No. Sweatbands are so hot right now. Everyone's wearing them. Like that basketball player and that other basketball player.
B, get spiritual.
Mom, where did all the mirrors go?
A reflection could never capture our true selves.
Huh?
Beauty is within.
C, look on the bright side.
Less time blow drying, more time texting.
Or D, show empathy.
Mom, you really don't have
Ta-da! Twinsies.
I kind of love it. As a parent, there are no perfect answers, but you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org/OH. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
From the Audio-Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KDET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app. He's a Texas legend, a Hall of Fame broadcaster, the voice of the Texas Longhorns, and your host of the Craig Way Show. Here he is now, Craig Way.
Second hour of our Friday show here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. My name is Jake Herman. We will touch base with Craig Way, who will be back on Monday to host the show. And we'll talk to him in about an hour. He is on his way over to Olsen Field at Bluebell Park in College Station, where the Longhorns take on the Texas A&M Aggies in what's sure to be just a friendly, run-of-the-mill SEC baseball game tonight. Now, it'll be pretty charged in there. And the Aggies students have already been sleeping out, camping out to try to get into this game. Apparently, there's been some trouble for Texas A&M students getting into this game. I'm reading from some sources down there that a lot of students are being told that there's not as much space as there typically would be in the ballpark for them. You can understand that given the occasion. It was a tough ticket. The battle for the Lone Star Showdown is close at the moment. Texas A&M in this kind of aggregate count of the win totals leads Texas 7.5 to 6.5, and different point values are given out. For instance, in men's basketball, you only get a half point for each regular season meeting because of the home and home and things of that nature. The baseball series, a best of 3, is worth 1 point. Then you've got men's and women's golf, men's and women's outdoor track still to play. Because Texas holds the title from the last athletic calendar, they would hold on to the Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown trophy in a tie. So there's the count on the Lone Star Showdown this athletic season. To the transfer portal, where the Texas men's basketball team within the last 24 hours have seen 3 of its players enter. The first of those is Cam Heide, who will enter as a junior. Started 29 games this year for the Longhorns, hit that key late three-pointer in the win over Gonzaga to help the Longhorns advance from the round of 32 to the Sweet 16, where they were beaten on that last-second shot by the Purdue Boilermakers. Who played big minutes in that Sweet 16 game and that round of 32 game, for that matter, Nick Cody, the 6'8" sophomore forward from Dallas, who averaged 4.1 points, 3.1 rebounds in 15 minutes a game, was kind of in the doghouse at one point this season, proverbially, because he was benched for long stretches of time, but played a pivotal role off the bench in March Madness. He is in the transfer portal, as is Simeon Wilcher, the junior backup point guard for the Texas Longhorns. The St. John's transfer will be on to now his 4th school after this. He will be into the portal. He was the only other Longhorn guard that saw action this past season, despite the 3 who have graduated, lost their eligibility: Tremont Mark, Kendall Weaver, and Jordan Pope. So that means that every guard who touched the floor last year for Texas is in the transfer portal or on to bigger and better things with their eligibility having used up. So the Longhorns have plenty of questions to answer, plenty of holes to fill via the transfer portal. Talked to Thomas Jones of the Austin American-Statesman about this. Of those freshmen who are coming in, Austin Gooseby, the McDonald's All-American, probably the most ready to start out of that group, but the Longhorns are pursuing some big-name point guards and combo guards in the transfer portal, including Isaiah Johnson, who is in the transfer portal after leaving Colorado. He announced his decision to leave the Buffs a week ago. He wasn't really that sought out coming out of high school in California, but he helped Colorado kind of punch above what they were expected to do this season. He averaged just under 17 points per game, 3.5 assists per game this season, an efficient shooter. He's just a natural 3-level scorer. And the Longhorns could use somebody like that. Again, there's a lot of transfer portal news out there, and some of that's controlled by the players and their agents and their camps as they try to drum up their asking price, their interest, things like that. So I'm not going to, go down a list and tell you every school that every high-profile transfer is being linked to. But Texas is certainly in the mix for a lot of these guys. One of those guys is David Punch, who was the leading scorer for TCU this past season. David Punch, the 6'7" forward, is reportedly in talks with Texas. This comes from Jamie Shaw at On3. Punch, according to the Athletics transfer portal ranking, CJ Moore, Sam Vecini, Jim Root ranked the 30 best players in the men's transfer portal as of yesterday morning. And Punch was ranked 5th out of that group. He's a number 4 position. Now, number 5 on the list, but he plays the 4. Really good in transition, versatile scorer. He can catch a lob. He can protect the rim. Good offensive rebounder. So that's somebody the Longhorns are trying to go after, according to a few reports. The guys ahead of him on this transfer portal ranking include Rob Wright. The Longhorns saw him, the point guard at BYU, who is in the portal. Terrific three-point shooter with a very high floor. Played with A.J. DeBonza this past season, but is looking for a new home after BYU's first-round exit at the hands of the Longhorns. John Blackwell, who is leaving the Wisconsin Badgers. He is a number 2 guard, 3rd-team All-Big Ten this past year, averaged 19 points per game, and he's apparently narrowed his list down to Duke and Illinois. Juke Harris, one of the best wings in the nation, leaving Wake Forest after averaging 21 points per game there. He is a big 6'7", kind of big 3 or small 4 with 2 years of eligibility left. He is going to be one of the names to watch in the transfer portal, as is Flory Badunga, who Evan Mayakawa ranks as one of the best transfers to ever enter the portal, the Kansas big man with 2 years of eligibility left. He's also in the draft, seen as a potential late first round or early second round pick. He's big enough to be a center, but maybe plays a little bit more like a 4, could certainly add a little bit to his offensive game, but the guy can flat out defend. He is a really, really good defender, plays hard, and was the Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Seen as one of the most versatile and skilled and high motor defenders in all of college basketball. And he is going to be probably the prized big man in this transfer portal cycle. So that's just a couple of the guys that are high profile names to look out for. In this top 30, I don't see any of the Longhorns players that have entered the portal. And again, when you see players like this enter the portal, you never really know if it was whose side's decision. Was it the Longhorns deciding, hey, this is going to be a kind of a mutual parting of the ways? Is this going to be a different direction that Sean Miller and company want to go? Or is it the player deciding they want, whether it's the role or the money or the fit, at a different destination that they thought was a little bit better than Texas? But Cody, Wilcher, and Heidi in the transfer portal, leaving this Texas men's basketball program. Certainly wish them the best of luck wherever they continue their college basketball careers. A little bit of a different change in tone from those 3 who had all kind of hinted at wanting to stay at Texas and thinking that one another would stay, at least in what they told the media during that tournament run. It's just the reality of college basketball in 2026. Right now, everybody's a free agent every year. And that leads to tough decisions being made on behalf of both the players and the teams as to how you build your roster in this modern age. So a little bit on the transfer portal there. Coming up, a couple of football notes, including a story from the NFL we're keeping tabs on over the course of this offseason that you might want to know about sooner rather than later. We'll also talk a lot more Texas baseball. I'll give you a little preview of the softball series against Oklahoma. That's on the 40 acres this weekend as well. We're just getting started with you up till 5 p.m. here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Our text line is available for you at 81530. Text the word Texas, followed by your question or comment. You can also get your voice on the air by submitting us a talkback on the free iHeartRadio app. Search AM 1300 The Zone, tap the red microphone, and you get up to 30 seconds to leave us your comments, your questions, your thoughts. This is AM 1300 The Zone. We'll take a quick break and come back with more on Longhorn baseball.
UT football, basketball, and baseball.
All in one station for all. This is why I listen. 1300 The Zone. 1300 The Zone.
Did you know cornhole is an international sport with televised tournaments and players across the world? At theacl.com, home of the American Cornhole League, you can find local events to play in, learn the game, shop for boards and bags, and follow our national pro tour. Whether you're a beginner or already a backyard legend, it all starts at theacl.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities, so do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Meet iPhone 17e. A whole lot for a lot less. With an almighty, all-powerful A19 chip. And Ceramic Shield 2, built to survive this. And this. And a 48-megapixel fusion camera with 2x optical quality zoom and next-gen portraits. And double the starting storage of iPhone 16e. And long-lasting battery life for hours of watching the studio. That's the dream! And it comes with Apple Intelligence. And you can charge it with USB-C or with MagSafe accessories. And a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e at AT&T today.
Voters are listening to the radio, and they're really listening. If you're running for office, radio gets your message heard, not scrolled past. Reach communities everywhere and be on the air in just 48 hours. Go to winwithiheart.com. That's winwithiheart.com.
It's deck days at Lowe's, and the savings are stacked. Right now, pros get 15% off all in-stock composite decking from top brands like Trex, TimberTech, and Decorators. Plus, get a free DeWalt 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery when you buy a select DeWalt tool. The deck's stacked in your favor with brands pros trust. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 4/22 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
50 years in the Lone Star State, a one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know
which way to Specs.
Come on, let's go.
Specs, fine spirits, and fine foods. World-class service, that's all about you.
Shout Specs, it's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shout Specs, low price, amazing. Here's to you.
Shout.
Cheers to savings.
records, milestones, firsts, lasts, and everything in between. What happened today in sports history on iHeartRadio?
What's happening, fellow sports fans? It's Andy West. Let's take a look back on this day in sports history, April 10th. We'll start off back in 1961. The Washington Senators play the first game in franchise history with President John F. Kennedy in attendance. They lose 4-3 to the Chicago White Sox. Baseball didn't stay long in D.C., but returned in 2005, and in 2019, they won their first World Series. Today in 1977, at the 41st Masters Tournament, Tom Watson wins the first of his 2 green jackets, 2 strokes ahead of runner-up Jack Nicklaus. And today in 1990, Dave Taylor, Thomas Sandstrom, and Tony Granato score 3 goals apiece as the LA Kings pound the Calgary Flames 12-4, marking the first time in NHL playoff history that 3 hat tricks are recorded in one game.
Now you know. Today in sports history on iHeartRadio.
Back to Craig Way, the voice of the Longhorns on 1300 The Zone.
Taking that time right behind my back, and I'm talking to myself at night because I can't forget.
It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
And a message coming from my eyes says leave it alone.
Well, when he was producing the show, Cameron Parker, who we spoke with at the top of the 2 o'clock hour about the Masters, would call these shows Fire Me Up Fridays. Big baseball game coming up later tonight. Last show of the week. Want to get you ready for a fun weekend in sports. We also want to get you to look ahead at a couple of things coming down the pike. NFL draft, of course, coming your way in less than 2 weeks. You can hear coverage of that live from Rowdy Cowboy right here on The Zone. Cameron Parker, Mark Henry, Mike Hardball Harge will have you covered from 2 to 6:50. That'll be a lot of fun. Hope to see a lot of you out there. I'll be back in studio, but I know they hope to see a lot of you out there for the NFL draft coverage less than 2 weeks from now. We're less than 2 months from another important deadline coming up in the NFL, and that's why I bumped back with the White Stripes, 7 Nation Army, which is a great Fire Me Up Friday song on a day like this. But there's a deadline coming there. The CBA between the NFL and the Referees Union will expire at the end of May. So that caused the NFL to send teams a memo yesterday to expect replacement officials at off-season practices. This is something that teams will do over the summer, bring officials into practice to help smooth facilitation of drills. Of course, you want your players to be familiar with the rules and the way they're going to be kind of enforced. Helps the referees kind of gear up for the season too. The NFL has warned teams about this because there has not been a new deal reached quite yet. The update today from Mike Jones of The Athletic was that there was a productive meeting yesterday between the NFL Referees Association and the league. Jerry Jones of the Cowboys, Joel Glazer of the Bucks, Clark Hunt of the Chiefs were 3 team owners that were there to join the negotiations in person. The NFL and its negotiators are working diligently on this. Last month, there were talks that broke off, and so the NFL had to make plans to hire and train some replacement officials as early as next month. The league leaders saw it as important because you need people with experience, at least officiating the college game, to train as early as possible, get them up to the speed of the NFL. We saw some real struggles when the replacement officials took over. I believe it was the 2013 or 14 season, the last time that there was a strike. And after that play dubbed the Fail Mary in Seattle, that controversial interception that was called a touchdown, which decided a Monday Night Football game. I think it was Doug Baldwin on the receiving end of a Russell Wilson pass in that one. Unless I've got the teams backwards. I know it was between Green Bay and Seattle. The referees were able to reach a new agreement after that. Yeah, the Fail Mary was it was Golden Tate, the receiver on the receiving end, and you got the still image that lives in NFL infamy of one official putting his hands up for the touchdown, the other starting to timidly signal an interception. So that's something to look out for. The change in tone, at least, is a good sign because NFL officiating's embroiled in enough controversy on the heels of a less than stellar postseason in that department. So you don't want the replacement refs to have to come back anytime soon. Another football note for you. The Big 12 today announced its 2026 schedule of weekday games. Now, this is a little different, and people are going to feel different ways about this. The Big 12 is trying to pile some games into that Friday night window because ratings are better. The conference is going to play 9 weekday games this year. 8 of those are on Fridays, and one of them is on Black Friday. One is on Thanksgiving, and that'll be between TCU and Texas Tech in Lubbock. Other Friday night games include Houston at Texas Tech on September 18th and Houston at Colorado on November 13th, just naming a couple there. Missouri and Kansas, that rivalry will take place on Friday, September 11th. Some folks in this state won't be too happy about that, with, of course, that taking eyes away potentially from Texas high school football, which owns Friday night in this state and in this town. So we'll see how those kind of set a new trend maybe for college football reaching into the weekdays to grab some better ratings. Texas Tech is going to host TCU on Thanksgiving Day. Interesting decision there. Something to look forward to in Lubbock if you want to go out and spend the day at the game there. I'm not sure how to feel about all this, and we'll try and get Craig's take on it when he's back in studio hosting the program next week. But more and more college football games happening on non-traditional college football nights. And I understand it, especially for teams in the quote-unquote mid-major conferences, the group of 6, looking to get more eyeballs, more attention. Heck, it's a recruiting pitch for those schools, being able to play in prime time, get some visibility for their players, their programs. But I'm not sure how people in this state are going to feel about more games on Friday nights from the Big 12. So Brett Yormark continues to push the envelope on that story there. Speaking of football, we'll hear a little bit from Will Muschamp later on this hour. But for now, I want to make sure we touch on Texas softball, who is going to battle Oklahoma, a series that might determine who has the inside track to the SEC regular season title this weekend. Second-ranked Oklahoma will be here in Austin to face fourth-ranked Texas, the defending national champions. This series is one that you might see again in May or June. In past years, this has been, a pretty good preview of what's to come in the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. There's stories this week about the Sooners practicing with artificial crowd noise to get ready for a raucous environment at Red and Charlene McCombs Field. You can hear those games on the iHeartRadio app and on Retro Austin. Andrew Haynes will have the call from first pitch to last. And OU's come into this series with some momentum. They've got a young pitching staff that have really set the tone. It's a big-time matchup between 2 top 5 teams, including tonight, with Tegan Cavan taking on Oklahoma ace Audrey Lowry. So, big series coming up on tap for Texas softball. The Longhorns, who took 2 out of 3 from Texas A&M last weekend in that rivalry series. Actually, that was 2 weekends ago. Then dropped the series to number 4 Alabama, who then moved up and leapfrogged them in the rankings. Game 1 is tonight, 6 o'clock Central. Pregame coverage starts at 5:45 on Retro Austin and on the iHeartRadio app. You can also watch the games on ESPN2. The worldwide leader will bring their championship crew, Jessica Mendoza and Beth Mowens, on the call for that one. And then you can catch Saturday and Sunday's game. 7 o'clock start Saturday, 1 o'clock start Sunday afternoon, Texas OU softball on ESPN. So a really big series for Mike White and his fourth-ranked Longhorns looking to bounce back from dropping that road series against red-hot Alabama in that one. So when we come back, we'll hear a little bit from Longhorns defensive coordinator Will Muschamp. Later this hour, we'll have more from Jim Schlossnagle with the Longhorns taking on Texas A&M in the Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown baseball series this weekend, starting tonight. And you can hear that game over on 103.1 FM, Austin's 80s station. A lot going on. We're trying to keep tabs on everything for you here on the Craig Way Show, Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone.
How was your break?
It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code FUTURE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FUTURE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's FUTURE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Hey guys, I'm Erin. And I'm Elena from Round Rock's newest and soon-to-be best sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy. We have a Texas-sized menu with everything from handmade onion rings to choice steaks. 32 ice-cold draft beers and craft cocktails, plus 69 big screen TVs. If that's not enough, how about the hottest Rowdy Cowgirls in Texas? So saddle up and hit the trail to Rowdy Cowboy, located off I-35 north of Loop 45 in Round Rock. And help us get rowdy.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-403-5566. That's 800-403-5566. 800-403-5566.
AM 1300 The Zone occasionally holds contests. For more information about contests on this station, go to am1300thezone.com/rules.
I'm Daniel Alarcon. I'm John Green, co-host of the podcast The Way and with my old friend Daniel. I remember the first time I took my oldest son to an actual live soccer game. And when you step out through the concourse and you can see the field, he did like that, like a sharp intake of breath. And he said, "This is so unusual for my eyes." Oh, I love that. Together, we'll find out why, of all the unimportant things, football, soccer is the most important.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search The Away End with Daniel Alarcon and John Green, and listen now.
I'm Julian Edelman. That's Rob Gronkowski. And guess what, folks? We're teammates again. And we're going to welcome you guys all to Dudes on Dudes.
Dudes on Dudes.
That sounds a little weird, but that's what this is going to be. Roberto, what's Dudes on Dudes?
Well, I'm a dude. You're a dude, and Dudes on Dudes is our brand new show, and we're going to see who the ultimate dude really is.
The premise of this show is going to be, we're going to highlight players, peers, guys that we played against, legends from the past. We'll get into the types of dudes. What kind of types of dudes are there, Gronk?
A lot of different types of dudes. We got studs, wizards. We got freaks.
Or dudes, dude.
We got dogs.
We'll break down their games. We'll share some insider stories and determine what kind of dude each of these dudes are. Is Randy Moss a stud or a freak? Is Tom Brady a dog or a dude's dude?
We're gonna find out, Jules. New episodes drop every Thursday during the NFL season.
Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and X. Go to Apple Podcasts and write a review about dudes that you want us to do.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Coach Sark here. Back to the Craig Way Show on your home for the Longhorns, 1300 The Zone.
Right at the halfway point of today's show. Really hope you're having a great Friday afternoon here on April 10th. Maybe some of you are headed out to the Brazos Valley. Going to wear the burnt orange at Bluebell Park tonight. Be a brave away fan out there in Aggie land. Not sure if that's you, but either way, we're happy to have you with us. I'm Jake Herman. We'll talk with Craig Way at the top of the 4 o'clock hour or sometime close to then. Him and Keith Moreland will check in with us from the booth and discuss their point of view on this Texas versus Texas A&M series. Ruger Riojas taking the mound tonight for Texas against Aggies lefty Shane Sadeo, a veteran of this rivalry. Both going to bring a lot of fire up there to the hill. We'll continue to preview that matchup as we get a little closer to it later on here in the show. But like we said before the break, we'll hear from Will Muschamp, the Longhorns' once and future defensive coordinator. I thought this was a funny exchange he had with the reporter early in his media availability yesterday as the Longhorns are past the midway point now of spring practice. He was asked about first impressions. What's the importance of a first impression as far as the players have on him, and what kind of buy-in is he looking for? What's the importance of those first couple of days?
One or the other. If they don't buy in, they ain't gonna play. So that's me. I've said it before. I've told multiple players multiple times. I don't need any more friends. I'm into coaching and developing, and that's probably where you draw the line.
It sounds like the same guy that was in Austin back 15 years ago before he left to take the job at Florida to be the Gators head coach. He was asked, what has he learned, Will Muschamp, since leaving Texas 15 years ago?
A lot. How much time you got? But it's been a good experience in everywhere that I've been, and I've enjoyed every place we've ever been, whether it was Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Auburn, one more year back again. They've all been awesome experiences for me. And you live and you learn as a coach, no different in the business world. Being an attorney, being a coach, you kind of live and learn, and you get better as you go. You age like fine wine, other than some people around here.
Making his joke there towards the media. I think it was fun for him to visit with some old friends from years later in that room when he talked to the media yesterday. It's not too common that Steve Sarkisian assistants address the media, but with a high-profile hire coming in like Will Muschamp, I think it's the first time that Sark has replaced a coordinator over the course of his tenure here at Texas, and it's worthy of an introduction, I think. And Will Muschamp had plenty more to say, including the areas that he's looking to improve the most as he gets cracking on this defense.
Well, we only have one start coming back at linebacker with Ty Anthony, so that's and I think Keem Biles and Justin Cryer have come in and done a really nice job. Brad is having a good spring. So that's a little bit of a concern, just the experience at that position in a new scheme, in a new system. But again, I want to compliment the players about the buy-in that they've had. But, I've got concerns on all three levels, but we've got some time to get through spring. And again, we've got to do a great job post-spring of continuing to do a good job with our players.
Yeah, Will Muschamp and company trying to maximize the talent on the defensive side of the ball, including that of Colin Simmons. And he was asked what position would he classify where Colin Simmons is going to play this upcoming season for Texas.
Well, Colin is playing multiple spots. So he technically by day one, I would say he's our jack, which is an outside hybrid defensive end, outside linebacker that can do a lot of different things. We've got to have him activated in the rush a lot. I mean, he's very slippery in the rush. He's got really good instincts in the run game and in the pass game on protections. He does a really good job of those things, but he's going to play some end. He's going to move around a lot. You're going to see him at stack linebacker at times. Our job is to put it in situations where people can't ID where he is all the time. And I've been very impressed with how he has, embraced it. He got to spend some more time on this stuff, and he's a guy that's had tremendous success here. And sometimes, again, it's like that change is hard a little bit sometimes, but he's embraced the growth of it and what we need to do to be successful. And that we've got to get him in multiple spots in order to be successful.
One of the other areas that Will Muschamp is going to focus immensely is in the secondary. And his philosophy has always been that of taking away the middle of the field, playing a very much pressure style of man coverage out on the edges, maybe a little bit different from what the Longhorns ran last year with Pete Kwiatkowski. He was asked in this press conference, Will Muschamp, if he feels like he has the personnel to play that style at Texas this year.
I think so. I mean, I'm excited about the guys that we've got. We've got really good competition in the secondary, especially at corner. And but that's something, we believe in denying the ball, making the quarterback's got to throw the ball in some tight spots. But we're going to be multiple in what we do. You got to give some different looks. You can't live in it, but we certainly believe in getting our hands on people.
Yeah, and speaking of the secondary, Blake Gideon returns to the Texas staff. Of course, he's spent the last couple of seasons at Georgia Tech. He gave up a coordinator role there to come to Texas and work for Will Muschamp, who, of course, he played for during the late 2000s in that decade. Muschamp was asked how good it is and how impactful will it be to get Blake Gideon back.
It was good. He's a lot better coach than player. I tried to replace him for 3 years. But no, he's an outstanding football coach. He does a great job with our players. He's back because he did a great job for Coach Sarkisian in his 4 years as a coach and a teacher, and he did a phenomenal job as an evaluator and a recruiter. So it has nothing to do with the fact that it is a bonus that he was here when I was here. And it was a bonus that he was a player here, and he loves Texas. And he wanted the opportunity to come back here. So I'm glad he's here. I'm glad he's on our staff. He does an outstanding job.
And you can understand why those two might sort of see the game the same way. Blake Gideon was talking about working with Will Muschamp earlier on this week, and he mentioned the way that he's got a feel for playing to people's strengths. He knows how to maximize what his assistants can do, and that goes for the players as well. Blake Gideon knows that. He played for Will Muschamp on those defenses, and that helps everybody get on the same page from a philosophy standpoint. What other philosophies made this move make sense for Will Muschamp? He was asked, why does he see the game the same way as Coach Steve Sarkisian, and what are some of those pillars?
Obviously, his time with Coach Saban and my time with Coach Saban is obviously a huge carryover. I mean, he's an offensive coach, but we have a defensive practice plan. I mean, call it like it is. And it's very similar to what I've been used to with Coach Saban. And then obviously, 4 out of the last 5 years with Coach Smart at Georgia. Evaluation of recruiting, how we're running the program, the off season, the walkthroughs. I mean, all those things are things that I'm very, very familiar with of what we do. And we're able to speak a lot of the same language, that I've been speaking for a long time. And that makes a very smooth transition as far as those things. And I would credit Coach Saban for that.
Yeah, you heard him say defensive practice plan. What exactly does that mean? He goes into more specifics here when he was asked to follow up on it.
Well, like when you do half line pass, that's really a great teaching tool for the defense. And I hear a lot of offensive coaches were like, I never want to do that. We always did that with Coach Saban because it was really to teach the principles of the coverage to the defensive players. Well, we do that here, and Coach Sarkisian loves it. But he knows that it helps us probably more than it really helps our offense. Because really, if it's a full field read for the quarterback, he's only reading half the field. And sometimes there's some coverages that are going to kill any route over there. So I think there's things like that. But I think the physicality of it, understanding it's on offense, you can go out and do routes on air and really improve and get the timing and get all that. On defense, you have to key and diagnose. You have to see something. You have to respond to it the right way, have your eyes in the right spot. And in order for us to get better, we got to go against people, 7-on-7, 11-on-11. We have to go against people, walkthroughs. We go against these managers we got. We need to have the tryouts for a manager at Texas now. We got some bad athletes, and we're trying to match routes against some really bad athletes. Just be call like it is. I told the managers, you got to have a tryout. You got to run a 40 and do a vertical jump and a broad jump. We got to have a combine for our managers.
Hey, those are some of the hardest working people in the facility, the managers. Let's just stop that right there before they catch any more strays. Now, that was all in good fun there from Will Muschamp catching up with the media in his return to Austin after leaving for the head coach position at Florida almost 15 years ago. He was the head coach in waiting under Mac Brown, now having spent time at both Florida and South Carolina as a head coach, spending 3 of the last 4 seasons at Georgia on Kirby Smart's staff. He's going to bring some of the same energy, some of the same ideas, but also some new knowledge back to this role at Texas. You'll hear him talk more about those aspects a little later on in the show. For now, we'll take our last break here of the 3 o'clock hour. Still to come, more from Longhorns head coach Jim Schlossnagle, our visit with Craig Way and Keith Moreland from College Station, and a few more notes on what's coming up this weekend. This is AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Hey there, Texas fans. This is the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way, inviting you to join us for Longhorn football. We'll bring you all of the action all season long, including in-depth analysis and exclusive access to players and coaches before the opening kick. Number one, in 3, 2, 1. I know that many of us enjoyed watching the Masters over the weekend. You know who is a true master of personal injury law if you've been hurt? Well, that's my friend Dan Christensen at DJC Law. The number is 512-888-9999. And you can call him anytime, day or night, 24/7, 365. You know, legal issues don't
Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, your home for the Texas Longhorns.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Unwell. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required.
You can charge it with USB-C or with MagSafe accessories and a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e at T-Mobile today.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Got something to say?
Love you.
Well, just tap the red talkback mic on the free iHeartRadio app.
Let's go.
Requests, contests, or just to say hi.
Hey, this is Heather.
Get your voice on the air fast.
I got the windows rolled down, the moonroof open.
Open the iHeartRadio app and try it now.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try. He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Okay, wrapping up our second hour. We appreciate your patience there through that longer than usual break. We had a couple of technical difficulties we were navigating, but we're back on track now, wrapping up the second hour of the show. Mentioned that Jim Schlossnagle has been answering some not necessarily personal questions in that sense, but questions about the way he is going to dominate the story, I think, in the minds of a lot of college baseball fans, both on the Aggies side, welcoming him back to College Station for the first time since he took the Texas job after leading Texas A&M to the College World Series in 2024. Just a day later, it was announced that he took the Texas job after he had sort of had a fiery response to reporters who brought up his future after the Aggies lost the final game in Omaha against Tennessee in 2024, where he led Texas A&M twice over the course of his 3 seasons there. But in the sense that casual college baseball fans have had this series circled on their calendars for quite a while. Schloss was asked about the cauldron of noise and atmosphere that will be present around the Longhorns this weekend and whether or not there's a part of him that wants to maybe shield his players from that. And here was his response.
I mean, certainly I don't want anybody to get hurt or have anything weird happen. I mean, we got beer dumped on us in Auburn. So, that's part of this league. And even I said to Coach Thompson, man, you have a real fan base when they start dumping beer on the other team. So Auburn has taken a step up in that, at least in baseball. But I think it's also part of the experience, man. And it just is. And, if you play for the Red Sox and you play in Yankee Stadium, it's probably not going to go well. If you're a Red Sox fan, I've been a Red Sox fan sitting in the bleachers of old Yankee Stadium and had to endure that with a Red Sox hat on. I wouldn't advise it, but, I've experienced it at 14 years old. So these are all great life experiences. And at the end of the day, it's an intense rivalry. And part of being a player or part of being a competitive athlete is knowing how to stay focused in the moment and stay present and use our mental game, use our mental skills that we practice every day. And they're certainly going to be put to the test. I mean, this will be the loudest place we play, at least in the regular season, all year for sure. And so it is a great opportunity for us, and it's a great opportunity for their team as well.
No doubt about it. Jim Schlossnagle, very big on the mental game. He teaches guys to play with a certain calmness, right? He's very much about blocking things out that are outside of your control and just lowering your heart rate and approaching each situation with a kind of even-keeled nature. He was asked why he teaches guys to play that way, because weekends like this can really put that to the test.
I just really, when I was assistant coach at Tulane in the early 90s, I started studying a guy named Ken Revisa, who's along with a guy named Harvey Dorfman, is the godfather of the mental game of baseball. I was reading his books all the time, and then I tried to teach it to our pitchers at Tulane when I was the pitching coach, and then when I was the head coach at UNLV, and then when I got to TCU, tried to get Ken Revisa to come in, and he was too expensive for us at the time. So he ended up with a grad student by the name of Brian Kane, who we've been working with for now 20 years. And he's evolved into maybe the most popular guy in that area in baseball specifically. So I'm just a big believer in it. You cannot control your performance unless you're in control of yourself, which every game challenges you that way. I mean, we can be here on a Tuesday night on a cold day with nobody in the ballpark, and that's a big challenge. Playing at Bluebell Park on a Friday night in a Texas A&M game, that's a really big challenge too, to manage your heart rate and be consistent with your routine. So I believe that is the secret sauce to our program, and it's been that way now for over 20 years. Because if you're not in control of yourself, it doesn't matter what your swing is, it doesn't matter what your pitches are, you're sped up. And we've all been around. You heard athletes talk about, oh, wow, he's able to slow the game down. That's what it is. It's not the game. It's being able to slow their heart rate down so they can play the game.
Yeah, very interesting window into kind of the Jim Schlossnagle psychology of the game in that answer. And look, if things go his way this weekend, right, all the focus would be on the players. And you'll hear him talk about that a little bit in the next segment. But naturally, his return to College Station is going to draw a lot of the headlines, draw a lot of the attention in that series this weekend. Remember, 6:45 coverage starts on 103.1 FM, Austin's 80 station. We're going to touch base with Craig and possibly Keith Moreland. We'll see from out at Bluebell Park in College Station in the next hour of the show. Coming up, a few more sound bites from Jim Schlossnagle as we preview this massive series between Texas and Texas A&M, including a little bit more about this Aggies team coming into this series, having struggled a little bit on the mound in 2026. We'll talk about all that and more in the final hour of the show coming up.
Tickets are on sale now, y'all, to experience country music history in the making at our 2026 iHeart Country Festival presented by Capital One. Saturday, May 2nd. Country's biggest stars will be right here in Austin. See Kane Brown, Parker McCullum, Riley Green, Shabuzi, Dylan Scott, Russell Dickerson, Gretchen Wilson, Chase Matthew, Lauren Elena. All hosted by Bobby Bones. Don't miss your chance to see country music's biggest superstars, all on one stage. Tickets are on sale now. Don't miss out. Get yours before they sell out at Ticketmaster.com. That's Ticketmaster.com. And you can be there in person at our 2026 iHeart Country Festival, presented by Capital One.
Texas softball is back. Catch the Longhorns as they defend their national championship.
Texas wins the national championship.
Listen to every big hit.
High and deep, a grand slam.
Every strikeout.
Swing and a miss.
All season long. Search Retro Austin on the iHeartRadio app. Get ready to cheer on your Round Rock Express right here on 1300 The Zone. From the first pitch to the final out. Round Rock Express Baseball. Only on 1300 The Zone. From the Audio Visual Consultation Studios, Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, KDET AM Austin, your home for the Horns, and the #1 preset in your car and on the free iHeartRadio app. It's the Craig Way Show with the voice of the Texas Longhorns and Hall of Fame broadcaster, Craig Way.
Our third and final hour of the show. Jake Herman here filling in for Craig, talking Texas baseball for the vast majority of this third hour as they prepare to take on Texas A&M. You know, the Aggies have been shuffling their starting rotation around in terms of this series. They've kind of struggled to find consistency in that aspect so far this season. The only two Aggie pitchers hold an ERA under 5 at this point. That's the second worst ERA as a staff in conference play. It's been kind of uncharacteristic, the struggles on the mound this year for Texas A&M, including lefty Shane Sadeo, who is starting tonight. He's got a 5.51 ERA with opponents hitting over 380 against him to this point. Now, we know what he's capable of as a pitcher, and we know how he feels about the Longhorns. You'll hear Coach Schloss talk about that in just a moment as we get back to some sound bites from his visit with the media yesterday morning. But the Longhorns are a team that's pitched really well thus far this season. A conference-leading 3.25 ERA. That's just in SEC play. And it's all started with the weekend staff. As a group, Dylan Volantis, Luke Harrison, Ruger Riojas, Sunday, Saturday, Friday starters respectively, and that won't change this weekend, have collected an ERA of 2.49, a record of 13-1. The one blip came Friday night in Columbia, South Carolina, when Ruger Riojas struggled. Otherwise, he's been excellent. Tonight's starter for Texas, posting a 2.74 ERA, 68 strikeouts in 42-plus innings pitched. Texas A&M in their last game lost a Tuesday night clash against Texas State. That was a wild back and forth game, but they won 6 of their last 7 SEC games coming in, doubling up their opponents. More than that, 85-41, the Aggies outscored their last 7 SEC opponents. So things have gone really well for the Aggie offense. It's been a little bit stop and go for the Texas A&M pitching. Jim Schlossnagle asked to comment on whether he feels the Longhorns have a pitching edge coming into the weekend.
Well, I mean, I think we've pitched really well compared to anybody in the conference. But I coached Shane Sadeo and Weston Moss. I mean, those guys, especially Shane, I mean, what a savage competitor he is. And I very much know his love for Texas A&M and the opposite of that for the University of Texas. I know exactly how he feels about that. And so I love him as a competitor. I love him as a young man. So I don't care what his numbers are. I know he will be ready to pitch. Aiden Sims, we recruited him, and I mean, Mike was a part of that too. So Coach Early recruited him as well. Very, very talented. And I think Weston, from what I've heard, I think they didn't announce. So obviously they're going to put Weston in the bullpen, and where he pitched awesome for us back into the season in the Omaha team in 24. And so probably when they have a chance to get him in the game to win the game, whether it be in middle relief or later, I guess that's what they're trying to do. Fresh corn's good. Darden's been successful for them. So, their offense is so good that, I'm sure with all the injuries, they're trying to figure a way to, just keep the team down enough because they're scoring so many runs.
Yeah, and you heard Coach Schloss allude to the changes in the A&M rotation. Aiden Sims is moving up from Sunday and now listed as the probable starter on Saturday. He's been the Aggies' best pitcher, really, this season, and his 3.32 ERA, mentioned one of only two guys with an ERA below 5 on an Aggie pitching staff that has struggled at times this season. He's going to face off with Luke Harrison on Saturday, and the Aggies are going to play Sunday kind of by ear. It's likely that we'll see Weston Moss out of the bullpen because he struggled a little bit in that Saturday starter role for Texas A&M thus far. But the offense has picked up the slack. They've got some really good transfers in there, bolstering the top of the lineup. And Jim Schlossnagle was asked just how dangerous this Aggie order is.
Their lineup's awesome. It's consistent through the order. What's impressive is not the homers, and they have so much power, especially Sorrell, and Grahovic and Hakopian and the freshman Wilson, but it's the walks and strikeouts. I thought ours was pretty good. Theirs is better. And to do that with two freshmen on the left side of the infield in the SEC, in Kellner and Partita, like those guys are superstar players to be. Not that they aren't already are, but they are. When guys can control the strike zone, use the whole field to hit. Dewar, who's started out at TCU, I think right as I was leaving, we committed him to go to TCU. He uses the whole field. He's kind of a contacty guy that can hit the ball at the ballpark, but there's just a lot of variety of hitters that you have to deal with. So, and I think I don't know how much, I don't get on social media much, but they're catching the ball. And last year they didn't play great defense, and I think they're fielding 982. So, yeah, they're certainly Omaha caliber on that side of the ball.
Yeah, you heard him mention Caden Sorrell. He's been a big-time catalyst for Texas A&M so far this year, hitting .377. Gavin Grahovic, Jake Dewar have really done some damage at the plate as well. It's a lineup that's been hard to stop against a pitching staff from Texas that has been ultra stingy this season. The second-best staff ERA in the country for Texas at 3.02, and that's against a pretty difficult schedule thus far for the Longhorns as well. Jim Schlossnagle continuing to discuss this rivalry matchup and his first trip back to College Station. Also has a couple of decisions to make on his infield. Adrian Rodriguez, maybe a little bit of a long shot to factor in at all in this series after that procedure to remove a staple that was causing some inflammation, a little reaction inside of his hand. Matter of fact, let's hear Schloss comment on Rodriguez real fast. Is there any chance he'd be available this weekend?
I think I'll find out later. He got stitches out this morning. I think he'll be available to help us in some way. I don't know if that'll be with the bat just yet. And we got to, that's another example. We can't make this more than it is from that standpoint too. We got to be able to look up here in about 3 or 4 weeks, and say, wow, Adrian Rodriguez now looks like himself plus. He's bigger, stronger, and now he's, driving the baseball, hitting his doubles, getting his homers, because there's power in there. We saw that last year until he got hurt. So if we can keep everybody healthy and get A-Rod back full strength, now our offense and our defense we're a way better team. And that's the goal, is to be our best team, here at the end of the season.
I like that. Self plus. You hear guys talk about stuff plus in terms of measuring a pitcher's movement, velocity, spin rate, independent of the result. He wants A-Rod back as his self plus. But while he's out, the Longhorns have moved Temo Becerra over to shortstop from third, Casey Borba from first base to third base, and he's done a really nice job down there at the hot corner. In fact, Schloss was asked how valuable he's been with his defense on both corners of the infield this year.
Incredible. Yeah. Really proud of the work he put in this past summer with his body and with his kind of agility. He really invested in his body. We're going to ask more players to do that more often versus going off and playing. And you saw that last weekend in South Carolina. You saw it Tuesday night. And it's going to be interesting to see when A-Rod's back, what choices we make, to see what gives us our best offense, what gives us maybe our best defense, because he certainly has shown the capability to do both on both sides of the field. Going to play a big role this weekend too with their right-handed hitters. When they pull it, if they hit it on the ground, it's hit pretty darn hard. Every now and then they'll top one, which means you got to come get the ball, playing on dirt and grass. So it's going to be, to me, an underlying storyline is going to be how we play defense on the left side of the field.
And how they play defense on the grass. Jim Schlossnagle has a decision to make over whether or not Ashton Larson will get the start at first base, and that might come down to just how it looks out there over the past couple days.
Yeah, it's a great question. Haven't decided yet. I want to see him field balls over there tonight and tomorrow. Want to see who else is available to play, but it could happen. Could happen for sure.
We'll try and get the latest on that coming up when we check in with Craig from Bluebell Park in College Station. For now, though, we need to take a break. Again, if you want your questions, your comments answered on the show, you could text us at 81530. CPAL, I think, talking about the softball game we were mentioning on ESPN in the last segment, said generally the ESPN crew favors who Texas is playing, especially OU. Hope the ump is consistent. Strike zone wanders. Yeah, I know college softball is going to be one of the last to bring ABS to the table if it ever does reach the college game, CPAL. And look, I think in general, commentators on the big networks, they try and call it right as down the middle as they can. I'm sure you ask some OU fans, they might feel the other way, that the announcers are favoring Texas. Sometimes that's just how it goes in those high-profile games. After this, we'll check in from Bluebell Park with our broadcast crew for Longhorn Baseball. This is AM 1300 The Zone and the iHeartRadio app.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
50 years in the Lone Star State, a one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know
Which way to Specs?
Come on, let's go.
Specs, wine, spirits, and fine foods. World-class service, that's all about you.
Shout Specs, it's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shout Specs, low price, amazing. Here's to you. Shout, cheers to savings.
You know what your customers are doing right this second? The exact same thing you are, listening to me. Which, let's be honest, is kind of flattering. But my point is, ads on iHeartRadio actually get heard. In the car, at the gym, on the couch, while people are walking their dogs. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're a good boy. That's right. You're a good boy. So why not make the next ad about you? Get started today. Call 844-844-iHeart or go to iHeartAdvertising.com. That's 844-844-iHeart or iHeartAdvertising.com.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With other language learning apps, I was just playing games. I wasn't really learning. Babbel's different.
Babbel was designed by over 200 language learning experts to be the most effective way to learn another language.
Every time I open the app, I can choose to work on my writing, speaking, or listening. And it saves my mistakes for me to review, so I'm constantly improving. Before Babbel, I thought I just wasn't good with languages. But now I'm speaking French. Tout ça, c'est grâce à Babbel.
Save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription when you sign up at Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
From the Odoo.com Traffic Center, Odoo.com, the only business software you will need.
We do have an accident with the right lane block, 35 southbound before Runberg. About a 25-minute delay at Slow and Go from Tech Ridge Boulevard. 10 minutes added to your drive 35 southbound between Airport and Cesar Chavez just for backed up traffic. Mopac southbound between 35th and Barton Skyway. That's about a 4 or 5 minute delay. I'm Kat Cortez with your Austin area traffic.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive can help you protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, and RV, and more. And if something wasn't mentioned that you had in mind, find out if it can be covered at progressive.com or 1-800-PROGRESSIVE, because it probably can be.
Hey, this is Jamie Loftus, and this is my new weekly show, 16th Minute of Fame. The podcast where every episode, I take a closer look at an internet character of the day. Who were they? What made them so notorious? How did the internet, or sometimes the algorithm, choose them? And what does a person do when they're suddenly confronted with more attention than the human psyche can handle? Take The Dress, a story that went uber viral in early 2015 in spite of being, well, kind of a boring optical illusion. A mother of the bride in Scotland took a picture of a dress she was thinking about wearing to her daughter's wedding. But she saw the dress as blue with black lace, and her daughter saw it as white with gold lace. One BuzzFeed post later, every single person on the internet was talking about the dress. But to me, the dress is a story about the last couple of months when the internet was still sort of fun. It was shortly before the stories that spread across the internet stopped being driven by exploited millennials with useless arts degrees and started being decided by algorithms hell-bent on growing internet usership at all costs. And on a long enough timeline, the story of the dress is one entangled with abuse and media exploitation. Internet history is a tricky thing to be invested in. It feels like every time a bad-with business billionaire buys up another platform, history starts being erased. With the team at Cool Zone Media, we're taking these characters' 16th minute of fame to see what their moment meant to them and what it says about us.
Listen on America's #1 podcast network, iHeart. Open your free iHeart app and listen now.
Longhorns basketball plays here on Sports Radio AM 1300 The Zone. Welcome back to the Craig Way Show and the voice of the Longhorns, Craig Way. Follow Craig on social media at Horn Boys.
Start the show from Jet. That used to play in the load-in menu for MLB The Show growing up. I always think about that when big baseball series come up on the horizon. Hey, Craig's show starts at 6:45 tonight from Bluebell Park in College Station. We're going to check in from there with him right now. Craig, it's good to chat with you before this big rivalry series. I know a lot of Longhorn fans are looking forward to, and they're also looking out with one eye on the weather and how that might play into things.
Yeah, and I think tomorrow, Jake, it may even be more of a factor than today. But I will tell you this. It was about 45 minutes ago here at the ballpark that the grounds crew pulled the tarp onto the field. I was like, uh-oh. And I saw some really ugly, dark black clouds just kind of slowly move into the area, but they slowly, largely have moved out with no rain. So the tarp has come off the field. Texas A&M is on the field, taking infield right now. I think everything's going to be okay. It was the mid-afternoon they were most concerned about today. Tomorrow, may be a problem, and Sunday might even be a bigger problem depending on how the showers go. It does remind me, though, of last year when Keith Moreland will be along here pretty soon to join me for the call tonight. He was coming over today, but it reminded me of being in Starkville last year to open conference play, first ever SEC series for Texas, and they had a tornado warning on Saturday. Played one game on Friday. They had already canceled or postponed Saturday's game to a Sunday doubleheader. So Saturday looked really, really nasty and ugly, and there was a tornado. It was mainly tornado watch in the Starkville area, but it did go to a warning briefly. And they took the baseball team and put them downstairs inside of Davis Wade Stadium, inside the football stadium. Keith and I decided to hang out at the hotel. We said we can get in the stairwell if we have to, if it gets really bad. But it never did. It never really materialized. We had some rain, but no high winds. And they told us that that tornadoes there in the area around Starkville tend to split. Storms, they either go north or south or split up, and Starkville largely is spared. And that might have been the case here because I saw a lot of those dark clouds move north. So anyway, it looks like everything's good for tonight, and we'll see about the rest of the weekend.
And we'll see if the storms in the stands can, kind of precipitate out onto the field. This is going to be hostile for Texas tonight. I think that's why this series is so anticipated, and that's why a lot of casual fans, eyeballs around college baseball, are going to be fixed on this one. And hopefully a lot of people join in to listen to you and Keith on the call tonight as well. And Jim Schlossnagle talks about playing calm and slowing down your heart rate. And we heard him talk about that just a couple moments ago with the press before the Longhorns made the trip. Is that even possible on a night like this?
This is my 25th season in the lead chair of calling Longhorn baseball. And the more I'm around Jim Schlossnagle and the more he's around this team and the more I hear him talk, the more he sounds like Augie Garrido. He greatly admired Augie. And, but Augie used to talk about those same things, about being in the moment and slowing your heart rate and not thinking about all that other outside stuff. And we were talking at dinner last night about this, and I said, how do you know that your guys aren't getting too freaked out over this, or not, if not freaked out, certainly thinking about it a lot more than they should? And he said, you really don't until you get there, but I've tried to get to him and say, look here, I'm a big boy. I can handle myself. I'll be okay. You guys don't worry about it. He said, and you have to know, if I wasn't even here, he said, and it was another coach, they're still going to be all over you because it's A&M Texas. He's exactly right. When David Pierce was the coach, it was the same way. When Augie was the head coach, it was the same way. When Cliff Gustafson was the coach, it was the same way. It's the rivalry. And yes, it is heightened. It is elevated. It is going to be, more fired up, and Aggie fans are going to be a lot lathered up. We heard Andrew Monaco on the show yesterday saying there's going to be a lot of anger vented. They know that. They understand that. But, as long as they're allowed to just play the baseball game, the fans can yell and vent and scream all they want. They just have to go about the business of playing the ball game.
So 25 years in the play-by-play chair for Texas baseball. Does that put you in College Station back in 1992, the last time the Longhorns played a 3-game series down there?
Well, the reason it's like that, Jake, and I know you may not be completely up on it, it's more than just that single-game midweek stuff. For a long time, and it was really true in the Big 12 conference. But it started actually, I think, shortly thereafter, maybe 93. What the Big 12 used to do with Texas A&M, Baylor is do kind of a triangle split series with all three. So the way it would work is, say Texas was playing A&M, and maybe they play one game at home against the Aggies and 2 in College Station. But then when they would play Baylor, they would play 2 at home and 1 in Waco, and then Baylor would play 2 at home against A&M and 1 in College Station. So you see how that balances out. So they used to do split series like that. Kansas and Kansas State did the same thing, the Sunflower Showdown series. They would do the same thing. So that's why you didn't have full game, 3-game weekend series between Texas and Texas A&M, or back in the day, Texas and Baylor, or Baylor and A&M. They used to split them that way so their fans could get at least one home game out of the weekend against a rival school.
So now we get this 3-game series. And again, last year, the Longhorns swept Texas A&M 3 straight one-run games in late April en route to a regular season SEC title. How about the pitching matchup tonight with Ruger Riojas going up against the southpaw Shane Sadeo, who was expected to be kind of the Texas A&M ace, but he's really struggled trying to work his way back from injury and has made a couple of costly mistakes thus far in SEC play.
Yeah, he had the TJ surgery, and when he came back, there's been some scuffles there. But, Jim Schlossnagle recruited him. He pitched for Jim Schlossnagle in the past before he got hurt. And I was talking to Schloss about him, and he said the one thing about him is he is as ultra competitive a guy as you'll come across. And he's mentioned some guys, that played for Texas that were like that. Kimball Schusler, who played last year, played the last 3 years for Texas, actually started here at A&M, but then finished at Texas and is now a student assistant coach. And he was one of those uber ultra competitive guys. There are several guys like that on both sides. And he said for A&M, nobody, especially on the pitching staff, is more competitive than Shane Sadeo. And that's why he kind of eschews what the numbers have said, because he knows the kind of competitor he is, and he knows how Sadeo, because Schloss lived it on the other side, and he knows how fired up for this series Sadeo would get. So that's why he's not putting as much stock into the record as some other folks might have been doing.
Yeah, I think the quote was, I know his love for Texas A&M and the opposite of that for the University of Texas, kind of making the comparison to Ethan Mendoza, pointing out guys that might have the most fuel in the fire in this rivalry.
Yeah, I think so. And you talk about guys that get fired up and they want to have the opportunity to show what they can do. But then this rolls it back to what Jim was saying. Just you're supposed to do your job, do the things that you're supposed to do, and don't get too fired up in the emotional element of it. I mean, it's not even to the point like you have in football where Sark says, play with emotion, but don't be emotional. You kind of have to avoid even the emotion of the game and be more businesslike. Now, pitchers can be a little more juiced up, fired up, I think. But if you're a middle infielder like Mendoza, you have a job to do. You have a job to do as a middle infielder to do that. You have a job to do in the leadoff spot to look for your good pitch and don't get too anxious. So I think that's why both head coaches, and Michael Early is the same way with A&M, just trying to make sure their guys kind of dial into the simplicity of the moment and don't worry so much about what's going on in the grandstand.
How about what Ruger Riojas needs to do? Mentioned earlier in the show, Longhorns starting staff 13-1 this season. That lone blemish came in Ruger's last start against South Carolina. What are you looking for early in this start to see if Riojas can get back on track?
Well, and Keith will be able to spot it pretty quickly early. Does he have command of the breaking ball? Ruger usually has command of the fastball, and he largely did last week, but he struggled with the breaking ball against South Carolina. So at that point, when you're only being able to rely on the fastball because either the curve or the slider and even the change is not working the way you want it to do in your off-speed pitches, the hitters are going to sit on that fastball and wait for the opportunity to swing the bat and come up with a big hit. So I think it's as much that as anything. Fortunately for Ruger, in the big moments and things like this, he hasn't let that get to him too much, and it's just about command of the pitches at that point. And I think he should be in good shape there.
A lot of talk about the increased security and kind of the measures being put in place to, as some of the batting practice music fires up in the background there, some of the measures being put in place to keep things safe for the Longhorn players. What have you seen in terms of the atmosphere building at the park here about 2.5 hours before first pitch?
Well, put it this way. I got here last night when the team was doing its workout here, and it was kind of almost like a mini representation of a Krzyzewskiville, where the students camp out and the tents are out front, and they were there. And it wasn't a large collection like you'd have for a Duke home basketball game, but it was noticeable. Today, when I got to the park here a little while ago, it was the line has already started back around the building. That's for the general admission and where the students sit as well. So yes, there's a great deal of eager anticipation on the part of the Aggie faithful about getting. You can almost sense it in the hotel too, where there'd be people off in the corner and they'd see, when I was walking with Schloss through the building, we're walking around to another room. You could almost see the people speaking in hushed tones, like, "Hey, that's the guy." I remember he was with that. There's some of that, I think, going on as well. Once the first game, and I was talking with somebody from A&M about this. I think once this first game is out of the way, it'll settle more into the baseball side of it. And I would tell you this: if the Longhorns are on their game tonight and they win the opener, then I think it really ratchets up the intensity of the game itself for Texas A&M, and less about the possibility of the outside stuff. Because at that point they're more concerned about how the ball club is going to do and less about getting on the guy who used to be their head coach.
And there are baseball decisions to make for the former Aggie manager, who's now, of course, in his second year at Texas. And that's a decision at first base. Adrian Rodriguez doesn't seem like he's going to be ready to go this weekend. And now you've got Temo Becerra taking his spot at short. Casey Borba's played a dynamite third base. So at first, you're looking at a decision right between Josh Livingston and Ashton Larson. Schloss said he was going to see how they both kind of fielded the ball at Bluebell Park over the last couple of days to make his decision tonight. Any inkling on which way he might go?
Yeah, I think so. I after watching them last night, now they haven't taken infield today. They're not even at the ballpark yet. They'll get over here in about 15, 20 minutes. And A&M's taking batting practice right now. When they get to the ballpark, we'll see. But I think it's going to be largely the same lineup they had on the field against Incarnate Word on Tuesday. And that means Ashton Larson at first base. I think so. I think Borba is settled back in at third. They're very happy with him there. And Becerra's done a good job at shortstop. So I think you're going to have that. I think probably you'll see Jaden Duplantier back in at right field. I think you'll see Pack in left field, and obviously Robbins in center and Tenney catching. So I think you're probably going to see the same lineup that we saw the other night. And I do think this, Adrian Rodriguez is not going to be in the starting lineup, but I would not necessarily count him out of appearing in the ball game. The rest of his body is just fine. And by the way, A-Rod took ground balls last night. And the way that Jim explained it to me was his hand is largely okay, other than they don't want him gripping the bat for a few days. So he took no swings last night. He was not in the cage. I don't expect him to take any swings here tonight, and maybe not even through the weekend. Certainly, I wouldn't expect it tonight. But could he be available to pinch run? Absolutely. Could he be available to go in as a defensive replacement? Yes, he could be. So I wouldn't count him out from appearing in the series. I just don't think we'll see him at the plate.
Wouldn't that be something if he's playing a pivotal role in some capacity off the bench, like you said, in the field, maybe even on the bases during this series? Craig, we can't wait to hear you and Keith Moreland on the call. I just got to ask, was there any extra anticipation in this series for you, circling this one once this was put on the schedule?
Well, I mean, there's going to be a curiosity, I think, but I've been coming over here to work baseball broadcasts since I was working with Bill Schoening on some, going all the way back to 1998. And I've got other memories of things. I remember here in the national championship season of 2002, I remember Jeff Olivares hitting the natatorium, which is well beyond the left field fence, on one hop on a monstrous home run. And in those days, the Big 12 had a 12-run mercy rule and they ruled the Aggies on a Friday night here 18-6. I've seen some other games here where it's just been crazy and turned late either way. You mentioned the 3-1 run games a year ago. So there's a lot that's packed in to this series. I mean, they're meeting for the 381st time. So, and that was even only playing one game a year, when they were in different conferences to start off with, because even when they were in different conferences, they still met one time per year in a midweek, either here or there. But as you pointed out, it's the first time since 92 that they'll play all 3 games here in College Station. They played all 3 games in Austin, and that was for the first time since 93, last year when they did that. So it's a different feel to it, but it's the rivalry. It is, after all, the Lone Star Showdown, and there'll be a lot of excitement going into it.
Can't wait for the call. Can't wait for the atmosphere. I don't know if a playoff atmosphere will perfectly describe it, but something close to that with a little bit more hostility mixed in. Craig, we'll hear from you over on 103.1 FM, 6:45 pregame start time tonight, right?
Yes, tonight. Tomorrow we'll be on the Zone at 2 o'clock, and then Sunday at 1 o'clock back on 103.1 FM. And appreciate you sitting in, Jake, and we'll be ready to get back in studio on Monday.
Can't wait for that. Thanks, Craig.
You bet.
All right, we'll take a break and come back with a few more sound bites previewing this weekend series from Longhorns head coach Jim Schlossnagle and a couple more notes from Will Muschamp right here on AM 1300 The Zone.
From the ABA Heating and Cooling Weather Center, this is Zone Weather.
Austin area weather calling for heavy thunderstorms this evening. They'll give way to cloudy skies after midnight, a low of 67. A chance of scattered thunderstorms tomorrow with a high of 81 and a low tomorrow night of 70.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Keep your career moving forward with growth opportunities, great pay and benefits, and one of the country's top workplaces. Go to careers.progressive.com and apply today. That's careers.progressive.com.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code FUTURE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code FUTURE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's FUTURE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
There's a new kind of energy at Starbucks. When your day needs a reset, try the all-new energy refreshers. Strawberry acai, mango dragon fruit, or the all-new mango strawberry. The refreshers you love, now with extra caffeine. New energy refreshers only at Starbucks.
Growing up, either you wanted to be a player or you wanted to be an announcer. And if you're in the backyard, everybody always has that play-by-play guy. Here comes the pitch. He swings. It's deep. The ball didn't even go 14 feet. But hey, he's practicing, and so are you. But the cooler full of Bud Light, now that's a major league performance because Bud Light is the official domestic beer of Texas baseball. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Please enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
April is prime sports time.
Launches at 3. Got it.
And iHeartRadio has you locked in. Start your day with Fox Sports Radio's Dan Patrick, getting you caught up on the biggest stories.
You got some interesting scenarios here.
Then find your favorite baseball team hitting the diamond.
Grand slam for Mookie Betts.
Or dive into mock draft season with NFL Daily.
We know Mendoza's going number 1. Who do you have at number 2?
From NBA and NHL playoffs to the draft podium, we've got you covered. Open the iHeartRadio app, search sports, and listen now.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems. And if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
We are the NFHS. That stands for the National Federation of State High School Associations. But really, what we stand for, together with the OSAA, are the 99,000 high school sports and performing arts students in Oregon. And so we stand. We stand for the runners, debate team members, and basketball players. We stand for their coaches, officials, and adjudicators. We stand for the drummers, football players, and actors. We stand for the golfers, singers, and swimmers. We stand as the national leader and advocate for these essential activities and all who participate in them and make them possible, because it is our purpose to ensure that high school students get to play, perform, and compete together. To learn more about who we are and what we stand for, visit nfhs.org.
Sports Radio 1300 The Zone, covering the 40 acres. Back to the Craig Way Show. Connect with Craig through the text line by texting ZONE to 81530, followed by your message. Standard message and data rates may apply.
Well, you just heard Craig from Bluebell Park in College Station, where the Longhorns are arriving shortly to what I'm sure will be a rude welcome from the Aggie faithful. The Cotton Holdings Lone Star Showdown baseball series gets underway tonight over on 103.1 FM. And you can hear Craig Way and Keith Moreland on the call throughout the series. You heard him mention they're on the Zone tomorrow for Game 2 of the series. And there's going to be no doubt a lot of momentum gained or lost for Texas based on what happens in College Station this weekend. It is just one series in a crowded SEC picture full of teams that are lined up to potentially host regionals if the season ended today. And yet it's going to feel a heck of a lot bigger than that. Texas A&M, they are 19-3 at home this year. Texas, they are 5-3 on the road. The Longhorns, we mentioned, 9-3 in the SEC. Second place, just one game behind Georgia at this juncture in the season. We're going to get to some more from Jim Schlossnagle here later on in the segment. First, wanted to update the Masters leaderboard for you. Rory McIlroy still in the lead. He is at 8 under par, 2 shots clear of the field at the moment. He's 3 under today after shooting a 67 5 under yesterday. Tied for second at 6 under par, Sam Burns, Patrick Reed, Tommy Fleetwood. Fleetwood 5 under through 16 holes today. That is just 1 shot off the 6 under mark set by Tyrrell Hatton, who is at 4 under and a tie for 7th. 4 shots behind McIlroy. Sandwiched in there as well at 5 under, Justin Rose and Jason Day. So a crowded, star-studded field atop of this year's Masters leaderboard. The last group still out there on the course right now, including the leader, Rory McIlroy. The Longhorn baseball team trying to keep its focus on the field this weekend. It's difficult to do in an environment as close and as crowded and as hostile as Bluebell Park will be. Jim Schlossnagle, in kind of being asked to reference the results in last year's games, the 1-run wins for UT at the Dish over Texas A&M, was asked about the challenge of trying to win close games like that in hostile environments.
I don't worry about that. I mean, we've been in those scenarios. We practice that stuff. That's where a mental game comes into play. And I also understand that, nobody's perfect, and we're playing a really good team. So more often than not, I'll take our chances with good pitchers, but preferably, play some good offense, maybe be able to not have them be that way. But more than likely, all these games will be, tight.
Finally, that soundbite we were mentioning in the last segment about the message to the fans and what he has to say about those who might make it about more than just the game.
There's nothing I can say. I can't control that. Again, they're passionate, and their love for their team, love for the school, love for the 12th man. Like, I was a part of that for 3 years and loved it, to be honest with you. And tried to bring more of that to the baseball experience. Playing the Spirit of Aggieland, the third inning, was something we did, and that's an incredible experience to be a part of. So there's nothing I can say to them other than, I look forward to seeing them, and I know that they're going to be ready to go regardless of when we play the games. And rain's going to stay dry. I guess I'll tell them stay dry.
Yeah, and we just heard the update. The tarp was on the field for a moment, but the dark clouds seem to have passed in College Station for the time being. How about the success that Anthony Pack Jr., the freshman center fielder, has had for the Longhorns in the number 4 spot in the lineup? Does Schloss attribute that to moving him up?
Yeah, I believe he's just staying consistent with his approach at the plate. He uses the whole field. I don't think he's any different of a hitter. We put him there simply because trying to get the best hitters up the most. I didn't have any conversation with him beforehand, just wrote him in the lineup. And so, we like guys there that when you have enough on-base guys ahead of them, which we do, I think, then they come up a lot with runners on base, and a lot of times runners on base and 2 outs. So a swing and miss guy in the 4-hole isn't as valuable to me personally as a coach as there is a guy who can put the ball in play, get some hits, that kind of thing. The power, it's not a requirement in the 4-hole. It's a guy that can drive in runs.
And this is what we were alluding to. Ethan Mendoza earlier, who has been a diehard Longhorn fan since he was born. He was from Bedford, Texas, but he went to every Texas baseball camp he could growing up. And originally, played at Arizona State. The Texas A&M Aggies recruited Ethan Mendoza at the time, and Jim Schlossnagle, back when he was the head coach, Mendoza wasn't interested. He was recruited to Texas A&M by Jim Schlossnagle, ended up committing to Arizona State, and despite all of his breakout success with the Sun Devils, found his way back to put on the burnt orange. So how about the importance of this rivalry to Ethan Mendoza in the eyes of head coach Jim Schlossnagle, who tried to recruit him to be an Aggie 3 years ago?
Yeah, ironically, he didn't. When I first coached against Ethan his freshman year, was in Arlington, and he had a couple hits against us when he was at Arizona State, and he hit a double down the left field line and looked in the dugout and did 2 thumbs down, and I was like, I didn't know you. I didn't know him, but I was like, I didn't really. What was that about? I don't even know you, but I guess he didn't like the Aggies. But you'd have to ask him. Yeah, I don't really talk to the guys about those kind of things. I know their love for Texas, and I'm sure guys feel differently about the other schools. And I mean, since I've been at Texas, it's A&M's obviously a rivalry, but so is Arkansas and Oklahoma to the football fans, right? I mean, and last year when we went to Arkansas, I've never experienced that level of hatred like that. That was insane. I'm sure this will be close to that or in the ballpark, but that was 14,000 of them.
And they're expecting a over capacity crowd at Bluebell Park for the matchup tonight throughout the weekend as Texas takes on Texas A&M. We'll close out the show with a little more from Longhorns defensive coordinator Will Muschamp and get you all ready for a fun weekend in Longhorn sports. This is AM 1300 The Zone on the iHeartRadio app.
Wake up with Harge and Henry in the morning kickoff.
Those ribs were incredible. You talking those ribs, those breakfast ribs?
I said, hold up. Wait a minute.
Did you say breakfast? Breakfast. Breakfast ribs. I was not going to hit it. I was going to let it go. I was going to let it slide.
He was over here laughing at himself.
Yeah.
What a way.
It's too early.
What a way to start the day.
Weekdays at 7.
Meet iPhone 17e. A whole lot for a lot less. With an almighty, all-powerful A19 chip. And Ceramic Shield 2, built to survive this. And this. And a 48-megapixel fusion camera with 2x optical quality zoom and next-gen portraits. And double the starting storage of iPhone 16e. And long-lasting battery life for hours of watching the studio.
That's the dream!
And it comes with Apple Intelligence. And you can charge it with USB-C or with MagSafe accessories. And a whole lot more, all for a lot less. Get the new iPhone 17e at T-Mobile today.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-408-4040. That's 800-408-4040.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications the top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
By texting 64,000, you could receive recurring automated marketing messages from Ownwell. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ownwell.com/terms. Estimate based on your neighborhood average and individual results may vary.
When I saw how high my property tax bill was, I was shocked. We couldn't afford this, but I discovered Ownwell. Ownwell reduced my property taxes and saved me over $1,000.
Your property taxes aren't set in stone. They can be protested and they can be reduced. But instead of filing protests yourself and very possibly losing your appeal, Ownwell does it all for you. And we give you the best chance to win and save big. Ownwell has reduced property taxes for hundreds of thousands of Texans and put money back in their pocket, and you can be one of them. And unlike other companies that take half of whatever you save, Ownwell charges just 25%. And that's only if you save.
Now I don't worry about my property taxes. Ownwell reduces it every year.
Sign up now for free. Don't pay unless you save. Text TAX to 64,000. Text TAX to 64,000. Text TAX to 64,000.
50 years in the Lone Star State. A one-stop shop so you're never late. Price is so low that you want to know
which way to Specs.
Come on, let's go.
Specs Wine Spirits and Finer Foods. World-class service, that's all about you.
Shout Specs, it's how we do. A huge selection since 62. Shout Specs, low price, amazing. Here's to you. Shout. Cheers to savings.
For over 30 years, CertaPro Painters has been part of countless memories. Every wall tells a story, and we've been proud to help write them. We are more than just your local painters, with care, craftsmanship, and certainty. From the first brushstroke to the final smile, our promise is simple. Your home, beautifully painted and worry-free. CertaPro Painters, that's painting happy. Get started today at CertaPro.com. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey boys, it's Alana
and Aaron from Texas's #1 sports bar, Rowdy Cowboy, inviting you to join me and all my Rowdy Cowgirls for Blackout Fridays. We'll be wearing our sexiest black lingerie just for you.
Wash down our ribeye steak special with one of 32 ice cold draft beers while watching us and your favorite sports on our 69 big screen TVs. So saddle up and head to Rowdy Cowboy now in Round Rock.
Rowdy Cowboy, eat, drink, bottoms up.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Go
Stark here. 1300 The Zone is your flagship home for the Texas Longhorns.
Coming down the home stretch of today's show, thank you to Cameron Parker and Craig Way, who took the time to join us. I got to talk to Cam at the beginning of the show, get his thoughts on the Masters, still being led at the moment by Rory McIlroy, although Patrick Reed has made birdie at 17. He's now within one shot of the leader. That was a guy who Cam told me off the air was going to have a good week in Augusta. He said Patrick Reed and Ludwig Oberg were his two kind of under-the-radar guys to watch for. Oberg is back in 23rd and even par. He was 2 under today. He's going to make the cut. But Patrick Reed making a push up towards Rory McIlroy, who got off to that red-hot start today. Birdies at 2, 3, and 4, but gave 2 of those back with bogeys at 5 and 10. Bounced back with birdies at 12 and 13. So we'll see how Rory is able to come in here this afternoon. He was 1 under on these final 4 holes yesterday for what it's worth. Conditions getting a little more difficult out there now at Augusta. It's pretty dry, pretty hot, but still a fun weekend of golf there ahead. We'll recap that for you on the show Monday. We'll also talk Texas baseball and recap their series at Texas A&M. But for now, I want to let you close the show with one more note from Will Muschamp. Some of his philosophy changes he feels he has or hasn't made since leaving Texas 15 years ago.
I don't know that philosophically that a lot changes. We want to defend the middle of the field. We want to play tight coverage. We want to force the quarterback to throw into tight areas. Obviously stopping the run, creating it to be a one-dimensional game if you're able to. Make somebody beat you left-handed. So whatever they do best, let's try and take those things away and let's make them do it. So I don't think philosophically there's been a lot of change. Obviously schematically, there's been changes, and a lot of that's been because of how offensive football's evolved. You've got to be multiple in what you do, and I'm not a big guy that's an install during the season guy. We install in spring ball, we install in our OTA June-ish type times in July, and then in training camp. And when we get to the season, our package is in. We want to be able to just teach from there based on what the offense does, and let's try and take away what they do best.
So we'll hear a little more from Will Muschamp as the season gets closer. Thanks to everybody who tuned in on this Friday afternoon edition of the Craig Way Show. I'm Jake Herman. Coming up next here on AM 1300 The Zone, Bucky and BK bring you about 90% of their show. The last 10 minutes will be preempted by the Round Rock Express, who take on the Oklahoma City Comets, the Dodgers affiliate, at 6:50 tonight on The Zone. At 6:45 over on 103.1 Austin's 80s station, you can catch the beginning of both Longhorn baseball and then on Retro Austin, Longhorn softball as they take on Oklahoma. You can follow it all on the iHeartRadio app. It's a 3 screens, 3 tabs type of weekend for Texas sports, and we're glad you got ready for it here with us. Bucky and BK coming your way next.